Achoo! The weather in Lynching in April was volatile and unpredictable. When the fifth alarm clock rang in the morning, Jiang He reluctantly climbed out of bed. After 3 consecutive sneezes, her mind cleared. Her youthful body was robust. After a quick wash-up, she skipped breakfast, grabbed her laptop bag, and hurried downstairs. Stepping out of the youth apartment, Jiang He, with sharp eyes and quick hands, snagged the last shared bicycle. Rushing to get married, are we? A sarcastic voice came from behind her. Jiang He slung her laptop bag over her shoulder, her long legs pushed off, and she retorted, "That's right. I'll let you have it next time." Actually, there was a direct bus from the youth apartment to her company, but it wasn't on the way to the Civil Affairs Bureau. She had to bike to the subway station a kilometer away. Yes, she was rushing to get married. Because her elder sister was infertile, her brother-in-law's family demanded a return and refund. But how could a bride price, once spent, be taken back? Her brother-in-law's family knew this well, so they offered a solution. They were willing to add some money and have Jiang He marry in her place. Jiang He's biological parents unanimously agreed, calling it sharing difficulties as a family. Jiang He laughed in anger. She hadn't enjoyed a single good day, and now they were telling her they were a family? As the saying goes, a cornered rabbit will jump over a wall. If she was cornered, she would destroy everyone, including herself. 3 days ago, she arranged a marriage partner online. The other party was from the countryside. The introducer said the other party was 28 years old this year, lived alone, had a clean ancestral history for 3 generations. He owned a 2-story house with a courtyard in the countryside, along with 8 mu of fertile land, and enjoyed farming and growing flowers. He was poor, but she was even poorer. Poverty-stricken couples face countless sorrows, and she could always divorce in a few years. Yesterday, her parents advised her on the phone that there were many benefits for a girl to marry early. Now, thinking about it, her parents weren't wrong. If you marry young and divorce when you're still young, it's as if you were never married. At 8:45 a.m., Jiang He arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau on time. To be honest, she was a bit nervous. The other party could be poor, but not ugly. What if the other party was very ugly and clung to her? "Are you Jiang He?" A low, emotionless voice sounded in her ear. Jiang He turned around. Firstly, she wasn't obsessed with looks. Secondly, this man was handsome. He had peach blossom eyes, long sword-like eyebrows, a tall and erect posture, and a valiant, upright physique. Jiang He came back to her senses. They were the only 2 people at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. So, this handsome man in front of her was the free blind date she'd arranged online? This was like opening a blind box and getting a hidden edition. Her heart was churning, but her face was as steady as an old dog. "My name is Jiang He. I'm 23 this year. I currently work as a designer assistant at a design institute. My monthly salary is 3,500. I have no car, no house, no dowry, so you don't need to pay a bride price. The main thing is equality. Oh, and there's a prenuptial agreement. Take a look." Jiang He never fought a battle unprepared. The man took the prenuptial agreement, flipped through it quickly, then handed it back to her. Jiang He took back the prenuptial agreement and asked, "You finished reading it and understood it?" The prenuptial agreement was something she had written overnight. The more important clauses included 1. No children within 3 years. 2. 50% of the female party's salary to be used for household expenses. 3. Both parties to share household chores. 4. Domestic violence, regardless of the severity of injury, shall be treated the same as intentional assault and abuse, and may be prosecuted. 5. If either party cheats or falls in love with someone else, neither party shall conceal it. If you're not satisfied, we can discuss it, Jiang He added. I've finished reading it, and I have no objections. Are you truly willing to marry me? I farm in the countryside and don't have a fixed income. Jiang He said earnestly. I can earn money, even if it's not a lot. Actually, it would be fine if the other party just had a house. Renting in the city center was very expensive, and her 50% of salary could count as paying rent. Pen. The man was a man of few words. A straightforward person. Jiang He pulled a pen from her bag. I still don't know your name. The man took the pen and signed his name with a fluid stroke. Si Chung. He handed the prenuptial agreement back. Jiang He took it, smiled sweetly. Hello, Mr. See, Si Cheng's voice remained emotionless. They had arrived early. The Civil Affairs Bureau wasn't open yet. Mr. Si, where do you live? Jiang He initiated conversation. No. 8. Linshire Village, Tingsong Town. Jiang He opened her phone and checked the address. From my company to your place, it's 30 kilometers, and you can get there by bus. Oh, Mr. Si, let's add each other on WeChat. Si Cheng took out his phone and scanned her WeChat QR code. When Jiang He saved his name, she added 2 words in parentheses, husband. At exactly 9 o'clock, the Civil Affairs Bureau opened its doors on time. Si Cheng and Jiang He became the first couple to register today. The registrar, noticing they didn't seem very familiar with each other, asked, "Are you two sure you're here to register for marriage?" Jiang He, "Of course." Si Cheng, "All right, please wait a moment." With a stamp of the steel seal, the entire process took less than 10 minutes, and the red marriage certificate was in hand. Walking out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Jiang He glanced at the time. She was going to be late for work to clock in. She gritted her teeth and hailed a taxi. "Mr. Si, I need to rush back to work. I'm working overtime this Saturday, then I'll move my things over on Sunday when I'm off. There's not much. I can move it all at once." Caught in rush hour traffic, Jiang He was spectacularly late. Not only was she penalized for tardiness by losing her perfect attendance bonus, but she also had her salary docked. Jiang He felt a pang of heartache. She should have just taken leave. She was such a slave to work. Here, a colleague handed her an iced Americano. Jiang He gratefully took the coffee and gulped down a mouthful. "Yep, tastes as bitter as my life." "What were you doing this early morning?" her colleague asked. "Getting married," Jiang He replied without thinking. Her colleague chuckled, shook their head, and turned back to their own work. Jiang He leaned the back of her neck against the edge of the chair's backrest, tilting her head back to play on her phone. She tapped open Si Cheng's moments. His moments were as clean as his profile picture. This detached, desireless look was exactly her ideal type. "Xiao Jiang, send me the model renders once they're done." Engineer Li's message popped up. Jiang He reluctantly replied. "Engineer Li, please wait a moment. I'm editing an image." She pulled her laptop from her computer bag and plugged it in. Logically speaking, most model rendering would be outsourced. But the construction industry had been sluggish in recent years, and to save money, the company specifically squeezed newcomers like her. The key was that she couldn't refuse to do it. If she didn't do it, she wouldn't have food to eat. Si Cheng took the red marriage certificate back to report. "Satisfied now, are we?" Grandma Si lovingly flipped through the red booklet. Having lived for so many years, an old antique she was, Grandma Si was still very perceptive about people. The girl in the marriage certificate photo was very photogenic. Bright eyes, red lips and white teeth, and a beautiful, radiant smile. "I had a master calculate your botsi, and your 8 characters with Xiao Jiang match perfectly. It's a match made in heaven, meant to last a lifetime, forever and ever." Si Cheng sighed helplessly. "You say that about everyone." Soon, Grandma was scheduled for a major surgery. The old lady feared she wouldn't make it off the operating table, so she busied herself arranging a marriage for her most beloved grandson. Si Cheng had met many girls through blind dates, but none satisfied him, except for Jiang He, who was somewhat pleasing to the eye. Of course, what he valued more was that she was young, seemed not very bright, didn't have many ulterior motives, and even less background, making her easy to dismiss if they divorced later. "Xiao Jiang is different from them," Grandma said. Seeing her eldest grandson had come alone, she asked in confusion, "Where is the girl?" "She went back to work." Grandma praised her even more. "She's a diligent girl." Si Cheng remained noncommittal. "Can we arrange the surgery now?" Grandma stubbornly shook her head. "No rush. I want to visit some old friends out of town. You and Xiao Jiang live well together." Jiang He, diligent and capable, was swamped all morning, finally getting a break for lunch when her parents' nagging calls came in. "Your brother-in-law is a trustworthy man with a good background. Otherwise your sister wouldn't have married him back then, right? You're still young. Marry into their family, have a son for them, and you'll be worry-free for the rest of your life. We just want you to marry well." They had changed their tactic again. "If he's so good, why did my sister divorce him?" Jiang He scoffed, questioning them. Also, what era is this? A sister-in-law marrying her brother-in-law. A plotline so outrageous, even magazines 10 years ago wouldn't bother writing about it, okay? Her parents wouldn't listen to a word. It's just that your sister wasn't lucky enough. All right, stop talking about all this nonsense with us. We raised you. You have to repay us. This was their true nature. Jiang He only found it laughable. If her sister hadn't worked part-time during university to support her studies, she wouldn't even have finished high school. She was too lazy to argue with them and stated bluntly, "I'm married. Just got the certificate this morning." The other end of the line was silent for a while. She hung up the phone, took out her marriage certificate, snapped a photo, and sent it over. He's called Si Chung, 28, a farmer in the countryside. I super love him. It has to be him in this life. Finally, she added another line. You can sever ties with me, but you can't break us up, okay? Because her parents had demanded a high bride price from her brother-in-law's family, her sister had suffered greatly, unable to hold her head high in her in-law's home. All that money had gone to buy her brother a wedding house. Her sister was soft-hearted and easily manipulated by their moral blackmail, but Jiang He wouldn't be. Even if she just found someone for a flash marriage, she wouldn't let them succeed again. Anyway, with such parents, her life was already ruined. In just 10 minutes, her parents called more than a dozen times. Jiang He's phone was on silent. She didn't answer any and replied with a message. If anything, WeChat me. I'm very busy. After that, her parents stopped calling. Before her lunch break ended, Jiang He opened her computer and continued working. In her 5th year of university internship, she had been an intern at this company for nearly half a year, and after graduation, she successfully transitioned to a full-time designer assistant. Recently, she had been involved in bidding for an old park renovation project. Once they secured this project, she wanted to apply for a promotion assessment. She still didn't know how much savings her new husband had. She needed to earn more money because being handsome wouldn't put food on the table. After a busy afternoon, the sky outside the window had darkened. She packed up her computer and went downstairs. At this hour, there was no one crowding the bus, so she found a window seat. The bus swayed slowly, turning around half of Lynching before reaching youth apartment. Jiang He saw her sister standing by the building entrance from a distance, carrying a lunchbox and a bag of fruit. Sis, why are you here? Jiang He excitedly ran over. Jiang Chunhua looked at her sister's flighty manner, a gentle and helpless smile spreading across her lips. I knew you'd be working overtime again, so I came to bring you food. Jiang He hugged her sister tightly. You came out to find me. What about home? Won't brother-in-law and your mother-in-law be angry? I came out after eating. It's just past 9 now. I just need to get back on time. Jiang He then smiled, relieved. Let's go upstairs. Okay. Jiang He lived alone and often worked overtime with no time to tidy up. Her room was a mess, with nowhere to even set foot. Jiang Chunhua couldn't help but help her clean. Sis, let me do it. You just need to sit and rest here. Jiang He quickly picked up dirty clothes and snack wrappers. After tidying up, she sat down next to her sister, an expression on her face like she was begging to be lectured. Sis, why aren't you scolding me? Jiang Chunhua smiled gently. You're an adult now, with your own ideas. I support you. Actually, I'm quite envious. Moreover, I'm living in such a mess myself. I have no right to lecture you. Jiang He's nose felt sore. She remembered that her sister used to have a first love whom she dated for many years, but their parents disliked his family's poverty and forcibly broke them up. Her sister had been depressed for a long time because of it, lived aimlessly, and even had a car accident. But you had a boyfriend and hid it from me. That makes me very angry. Jiang Chunhua lightly tapped her head. Jiang He nervously touched her head. Well, I just hadn't found the right opportunity. What's he like? Is he good to you? Jiang He tried hard to recall. Very handsome one. 85 meters tall, good build, good fashion sense. Jiang Chunhua laughed involuntarily. Is that the point? I was asking about his family situation. Jiang He took out her marriage certificate, evading the main point. Of course that's the point. Facing such a handsome face. If we argue, I'd slap myself for being ungrateful. Jiang Chunhua couldn't stop laughing. Stop being so glib. You have Sunday off. Bring him to have a meal with us. Okay. After her sister left, Jiang He sent a message to Si Chung. She had a fixed day off on Sunday, but farmers worked according to the weather, so their rest times weren't as fixed. She had to arrange the time in advance. Mr. C, are you free to have a meal with my family on Sunday evening? Si Chung. You arrange it. Jiang He opened a certain yellow app to check restaurants. Even moderately priced restaurants in Licheng cost over 1,000 yuan per meal. Jiang He felt a pang of heartache. But this money had to be spent. She picked a restaurant her sister liked and called to book a private room for Sunday evening. This marriage was very timely. Jiang He's rent was due in another week. After getting off work on Saturday evening, she quickly had a bite to eat and then started packing. The frustrating thing was that in less than an hour, she had completely erased her traces in the room. She lay on the bed, looking at her 2 suitcases and 1 plastic woven bag, sighing. What was the point of a person living? The next day, Jiang He got to sleep in as she wished. The pounding on the wall from the next-door neighbor couldn't wake her up. She slept until 10 o'clock before dragging her luggage downstairs to get a taxi. Once in the car, she sent a message to Si Chung. Mr. C, I've already left. Expected to arrive in an hour. Si Chung. Jiang He thought Si Chung wasn't very smart. For now, she'd define it as the clear-eyed foolishness of someone who'd never worked. The navigation only goes to the village entrance. I don't really know the way. Could you pick me up at the village entrance? It took a while for Si Chung to reply. Call me when you arrive. Thanks/Rose. An hour later, the car stopped at the village entrance. Along the way, Jiang He had seen the bus stop 200 or 300 meters from the village entrance, as well as several construction sites nearby. But since the new developments hadn't opened yet, the bus stop seemed a bit desolate. Young lady, this is already the village. Are you sure it's here? The driver helped her take her luggage out of the trunk. Jiang He smiled awkwardly. Yes, it's here. The driver said nothing more, started the car, and left. It was noon, and the owners of several shops at the village entrance and passers-by all looked Jiang He over. Jiang He sent a message to Si Chung. Mr. C, I've arrived. A message popped up on her phone screen. Jiang He instinctively looked up and saw Si Chung walking towards her from a distance. He looked as if he had just finished farm work, wearing a white vest inside, with the sleeves of his dark green work jacket rolled up to his elbows, revealing a section of his arm. His hair was neat, and there was no mud on his shoes. He wasn't a sloppy person. Mr. C, over here. She waved. Si Chung walked over, frowning as he looked at the huge, never-before-seen blue and white woven plastic bag. After a long moment, he still asked the question on his mind. Is this your luggage too? Jiang He thought he was complaining about her having too much luggage and didn't want to help her carry it. So she handed him the 2 leather suitcases she was holding. You can just carry these for me. Si Chung picked up the woven bag. I'll carry this one. Okay. Jiang He couldn't have been happier. Silence filled the journey. After walking about 100 meters, Jiang He began to worry about herself. It was hard to imagine her leaving early and returning late, staying up all night, and then having to sprint 800 meters from her house to the village entrance to catch the bus early in the morning. Running first thing in the morning like that, she'd surely waste away to nothing. What time do you usually get off work? Jiang He realized he was talking to her and snapped out of her thoughts. Normally 6, but if there's overtime, it's uncertain. I'll try my best. Do you have a driver's license? Jiang He nodded, not understanding why he asked. Yes. Si Chung didn't say anything more, and Jiang He found it perplexing. After walking for about 10 minutes, Si Chung led her into a small fenced courtyard, where various vegetables were growing. Continuing past the courtyard, they reached a 2-story house facing lush green wheat fields. Si Chung carried the luggage inside, opened the shoe cabinet, and took out a brand new pair of women's slippers. Just bought them. Thank you. Jiang He changed into the slippers and looked around the house. Her architect's DNA was awakened. This 2-story house was about 200 square meters, facing south, with a transparent main structure. The most striking feature was the unique, non-template Chinese decor, which was very tasteful. Si Cheng's aesthetic taste is really on point, she thought to herself. Downstairs are the kitchen, dining room, and living room. Upstairs are 2 bedrooms, and yours has already been prepared. Jiang He asked blankly, We're not sleeping together? Her mouth was faster than her brain. As soon as the words left her lips, she blushed. Si Chung, however, remained unfazed. Do you want to sleep together? Jiang He shook her head vehemently. It's too soon. With that, she grabbed her laptop bag and scurried upstairs. Siqing couldn't help but chuckle watching her hasty retreat. The stairs divided the house into two halves, with the female occupant living on the south side and the male occupant on the north. Jiang He opened the door and first saw a small walk-in closet. Further in was a very standard, dreamlike room, solely for sleeping. The double bed, covered with pink sheets, seemed to have a fatal attraction for her. Outside the room was a large balcony, with the doors and windows half open, and a refreshing breeze rustling the curtains. Her new home was beyond imagination. She had thought she'd be living in a red brick house. Are you really letting me stay here? Her tone was uncertain. Turning back, she saw Siqing hadn't followed her in but was standing outside the door. Siqing thought she was displeased. If you don't like it, you can decorate it yourself. This room had been prepared temporarily, so it wasn't as meticulous, and he understood that a designer would have specific requirements for interior decoration. Jiang He shook her head like a rattle drum. I love it, love it. I absolutely love it. When she was little, she shared a room with her sister. In university, she lived in dorms with classmates. Only after working and renting a place did she get her own small space. But her rented apartment was hard to describe. A large bed greeted her at the door, and the less than 30 square meter space served for eating, drinking, going to the bathroom, and sleeping. She still remembered the last time she cooked luosafen, river snail noodles. The smell lingered for days, making her colleagues think she was wearing luosafen-scented perfume. Let's go downstairs and eat first. Okay. Jiang He had smelled the aroma of food as soon as she entered. On the dining table were 4 home-cooked dishes and a soup. The presentation and appearance showed great care. You can cook. Jiang He picked up a piece of meat and put it in her mouth. It's delicious. No. Siqing replied simply. Did you order takeout? No. Oh. Jiang He hadn't eaten breakfast, so her mind was slow, and what she heard went in one ear and out the other. She didn't ask anything else, focusing instead on eating. But from Siqing's perspective, this girl was, as he expected, not very bright. After finishing the meal, Jiang He proactively cleared the dishes, showing the self-awareness of someone staying in another's home. Siqing didn't refuse, sending a message to the housekeeper. You don't need to come. Jiang He finished tidying the kitchen, then curiously walked around the house, and went outside for a while to familiarize herself with the surroundings. When she returned home after her stroll, she realized she hadn't taken the keys. She sent Siqing a message. No response. He must have gone for a nap. It was wrong to disturb someone's peaceful rest. As a newcomer, she didn't yet know her new husband's temper, so she didn't want to annoy him. She sat on the wooden bench in front of the door and waited. The midday sun was too dazzling, so she took off her jacket and covered her head with it. Before long, she unconsciously drifted off to sleep. Siqing hadn't had such a deep nap in a long time. When he woke up and saw Jiang He's message, he helplessly went downstairs. Opening the door, he was startled by her bizarre posture. Jiang He. There was no response. He reached out and removed the jacket covering her head. Jiang He groggily opened her eyes and stared blankly at Siqing. Is it morning already? It was the first time Siqing had encountered such a carefree girl. It was my oversight. I forgot to give you the keys. Jiang He was still in a daze. Just now, I dreamed that over 50 construction drawings disappeared. It was terrifying. Siqing lost the desire to converse and tossed the jacket to her. Jiang He came back to her senses and awkwardly entered the house. Siqing handed her an unopened box of keys and a front door key. This box contains your room keys, and this is the front door key. Thank you. Are you free this afternoon? We're going out. Bring your driver's license. Siqing asked. Why bring my driver's license? Never mind. I'll go change first. Jiang He changed clothes and put on light makeup at lightning speed in 15 minutes. Siqing was still dressed in a sweater and trousers, looking refined and noble, not like a farmer. Outside the door, a black sedan was parked. It was probably an online ride-hailing car Siqing had ordered. After getting into the car, Jiang He finally asked, Mr. C, where are we going? Siqing said, It's not safe for you to come home too late after work, so we're going to buy a car. Jiang He's eyes widened. Really? But I don't have any money, she added. Regarding the long commute, she had considered various solutions, but never buying a car. Because she was genuinely short on money, she didn't even dare to dream of it. Besides, car license plates are hard to get. I have a friend who tried for a year before getting one. Si-chung said, "We can't buy anything too expensive, and I don't have much savings either. But since you are my wife, I must ensure your safety getting to and from work." Mr. C, you're so kind. When she was little, her grandmother, a fortune teller, always liked to bring young Jiang He along to her stall. Grandma always said that good men generally had superior bone structure to their skin, and also a full forehead, balanced facial proportions, 3 quarts, 5 eyes, and the 4 prominences and 3 depressions, nose, cheekbones, etc. Whenever Grandma rattled off these things, little Jiang He would always laugh, saying Grandma liked handsome men. Grandma didn't refute her, only saying, "Good looks can solve most of life's worries. With fewer worries, one's heart expands." Appearance reflects the heart. Those with broad hearts treat people politely and don't fuss over trifles. Si-chung perfectly embodied all these traits. Indeed, a good face determines a man's entire life. Gas car license plates required a lottery, so Jiang He decided to buy a cost-effective new energy vehicle, which could be registered directly. Si-chung had no objections. Jiang He navigated the ride-hailing driver to a domestic new energy vehicle dealership. "Are the two of you here to buy a family car? Would you like to see our new SUV? It has an extra-long body and super spacious interior." The salesperson greeted them with a smile. "No, we need a car suitable for a girl to drive." Si-chung surveyed the cars in the showroom. The salesperson smiled. Certainly, this way please." Jiang He quietly asked, "Mr. C, what's your budget?" "What?" The showroom was a bit noisy, and Si-chung hadn't heard her. Jiang He gently stood on tiptoe and leaned into his ear. "What's your budget?" Si-chung cleared his throat. "Don't worry about the budget. I'm not very familiar with this brand. Just pick one with good performance." Jiang He mumbled, "My brother-in-law used to tell my sister the same thing, but it always turned out to be just empty boasts from someone pretending to be a big shot." "Ma'am, this car has a lightweight design, a great range, and is available in 4 colors. It's very suitable for women to drive." Although Jiang He suspected Si-chung might be exaggerating, since they were already there, she still sat in the car to try it out. The moment she sat in the car, she forgot about the man. The salesperson patiently explained the features to her. She briefly got distracted and saw Si-chung sitting on a sofa in the main hall, talking on the phone. "Ma'am, what do you think of this one?" Jiang He opened the car door and stepped out. "I'm satisfied in all aspects, but I need to ask. My husband, or hubby, truly felt like such strange yet subtle words." "All right." Jiang He walked over, smiling. "Mr. C, I've finished trying it out." Si-chung stood up. "Did you ask the price?" The sales lady said the lowest is 80,000. Si-chung's brows furrowed slightly at the price. 80,000? Is that for a full payment? Seeing his tightly furrowed brows, Jiang He knew he certainly didn't understand market prices and was shocked by the cost. After all, farmers didn't earn much these days. "The low-end model is 80,000. I've thought about it. Since it's for my use, I'll pay the bulk of the down payment and then slowly pay off the rest. What do you think?" She usually secretly earned some extra money and had saved a bit. She could afford the installments, though life would be a bit tight. "What about the top-tier model?" Si-chung asked. "I think it's 100,000. You like this one?" "Yes, I do." "What color do you want?" Jiang He thought for a moment. "Although I'll be using it for work, you'll also use it. So let's get black or white. They're timeless." These 2 colors were within Jiang He's acceptable range. "Don't consider me. Pick a color you like." Jiang He's eyes lit up. "I want pink." "Okay, pink it is." He pulled out a card and handed it to the salesperson. The salesperson smiled and took the card. "This way, please." Jiang He was still out of it. "It's bought just like that? Aren't we going to compare prices from other places?" she whispered. "Did you fancy another model?" Jiang He gave an awkward laugh. "No. Actually, I don't really understand cars, but I'm just habitually used to comparing things." She had decision-making difficulty. The fastest decision she had made so far was to marry him. "By the way, madam, which configuration do you want for this model?" "The highest one," Si-chung answered for her. Jiang He still hadn't fully processed it until a bill was placed in front of her. "Mr. C, full payment." She was shocked. Her meager salary could barely support her. If she bought the car on installments too, he wouldn't want to be responsible for her starving on the streets. A little later, the new car was brought to the dealership, a temporary license plate was affixed, and Jiang He sat in the driver's seat. It's getting late. Let's go straight to see your parents, Si Cheng said, sitting in the passenger seat. Mr. Si, am I dreaming? Si Cheng buckled his seatbelt. No. Mr. Si, did you just use up all your savings? No. Mr. Si, I will work hard. Seeing the house's decoration, she knew it cost a lot of money. After all, only wealthy people did Chinese-style decor these days. And now another 100,000 had been spent, making her inexplicably anxious and stressed. Si Cheng distanced himself. Buying the car is because transportation is inconvenient in the village. As for whether you work hard or not, that's your business. It has no inherent connection to the car. If a car caused her so much stress that she overworked herself to death, he couldn't bear that responsibility, nor could he explain it to his grandma. Jiang He looked at him. She had never heard such logic. Si Cheng looked at her clear, yet naive eyes, and again lost the desire to communicate. It's nothing. Drive and watch the road. To avoid unnecessary trouble, Jiang He had originally only invited her sister. But since marriage was a big deal, she still told her parents. Her parents scolded her severely and refused to see her and her country bumpkin of a man. They arrived early, and Jiang He propped her head in her hands, waiting for her sister. Suddenly, as if remembering something, she said, Mr. Si, you haven't told me about your family yet. Should we invite your family to meet? After all, marriage is a big deal. She realized she had been inconsiderate in this matter. Although he lived alone, he didn't just pop out of a rock. My parents and grandma are in another city, and my other relatives are also busy. Let's talk about it another time. Jiang He secretly breathed a sigh of relief. All right. She wasn't ready to meet his family yet. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, the private room door was pushed open by the waiter, and several people entered, chatting and laughing. TSK, the food at this restaurant is both expensive and awful. It's the perfect choice for poor people who want to show off. The speaker was her brother-in-law, Liu Yangze, and his parents, with her sister, Jiang Chunhua, squeezed behind them. Jiang He was stunned. Why did they come too? She ignored her brother-in-law and his parents, smiling and waving at her sister. Sis, sit next to me. Jiang Chunhua walked over, gently patted Jiang He, then greeted Si Cheng. I'm Xiao He's sister, Jiang Chunhua. I'm a high school teacher. Si Cheng politely nodded. Hello. Jiang Chunhua then introduced. This is my husband and my in-laws. Si Cheng's gaze shifted, sweeping over the brother-in-law who had been incessantly grumbling about the restaurant. The brother-in-law flinched under Si Cheng's gaze, instinctively closing his mouth. When he realized what had happened, he felt he had lost face. To be scared by the gaze of a country bumpkin, what nonsense. Oh, Xiao He, so this is the man you picked. Jiang He hated this brother-in-law the most. He had an ordinary appearance, triangular eyes, sunken eye sockets, and a pockmarked face, a typical villainous look. He was completely unworthy of her sister. Brother-in-law, his name is Si Cheng, Jiang He said. The brother-in-law let out a disdainful "oh," dragging the sound, then chattered and laughed. I know, he's a country bumpkin, right? In the future, you two will be tilling the land, facing the yellow earth and with your backs to the sky. Then you'll have a bunch of poor children, and your ancestors and descendants will all be poor farmers. The brother-in-law's parents also couldn't stop laughing. Xiao He, if you don't want to marry into our family like your sister, we won't force you. But why do you have to debase yourself like this? That's right, if word gets out, it'll ruin our family's reputation. They'll think we forced a decent woman into prostitution. Hearing this, Si Cheng finally understood what was happening, and his face immediately darkened. Jiang He was instantly ignited, opening her mouth to retort, but her sister held her back. No one would feel comfortable hearing such words, let alone when they were directed at one's own sister. But she was still living under someone else's roof and didn't want to openly quarrel with her in-laws, nor did she want her sister to cause any trouble that would be difficult to resolve. Jiang He glanced at her sister, swallowing her indignation. Her brother-in-law, however, wouldn't let up, jesting. Jiang He, You two haven't slept together yet, have you? If not, I could consider giving your family an extra 100,000, and you and your sister can both serve me. Jiang Chunhua stared at her husband in shock for a long moment, finally unable to contain her rage. Enough. Do you even know what you're saying? She's my sister. Her brother-in-law immediately grew impatient. Do you have a say in this? If I had known you couldn't lay an egg, I wouldn't have wasted my time on you in the first place. Jiang Chunhua could hardly believe it. She hadn't imagined her own husband could be so vile. Until the moment they walked in, she had still thought it was her in-law's idea for her husband to marry her sister. Now, she realized he had set his sights on her sister long ago. She had been foolishly played for a fool, initiating the divorce and pushing her sister into a quick marriage. How ridiculous. Jiang He clutched a teacup filled with boiling water, her fingers red from the heat. Back then, to win over her sister, her brother-in-law had been completely docile, and even his parents had doted on her sister, treating her like their own daughter. Everyone said her sister had achieved a class leap through marriage. In the end, it was nothing but an illusion. What? Not enough, her brother-in-law sneered. Knowing Jiang He was married, he no longer intended to marry her. A woman marked by another, no matter how beautiful, wasn't worth it. These insults were directed at Si Cheng, simply because Si Cheng's gaze when they entered had displeased him. But thankfully, Si Cheng was an honest countryman, without much ability, barely speaking a word since they arrived. He loved seeing honest people dislike him, but be unable to do anything about it. Jiang He's thumb, pressing tightly on the rim of the cup, slipped, and the teacup tilted back slightly, spilling boiling tea water all over her hand. A small patch on the back of her hand turned red from the scald, and tears welled up from the pain. She had intended to splash her brother-in-law, but thought better of it and held back. She didn't want to cause trouble or burden her sister. Si Cheng caught a glimpse of Jiang He's tear-filled eyes. Crying from anger already? The young girl had a poor mindset. But this brother-in-law was indeed repulsive. He picked up his phone from the table, tapped a few times with his slender fingers, then put it down. Jiang He completely missed Si Cheng's actions, only focused on holding her scalded hand. Her brother-in-law saw Jiang He's red eyes and felt an inexplicable excitement. Jiang He, moved to tears by me? Jiang Chunhua tugged at her husband, frowning to signal him to shut up. Her brother-in-law flung Jiang Chunhua's hand away with a look of disgust, roaring, "Get lost!" Jiang He was so angry that her feigned crying was about to turn real. She desperately wanted to beat up her brother-in-law. As the scene reached an impasse, the restaurant manager entered with 2 servers. Her brother-in-law raised an eyebrow. "Oh, here to kick out the country bumpkins? I eat here often, give me some face." The restaurant manager placed a bill in front of her brother-in-law. "Sir, a month ago you spent 2,500 yuan at our establishment. The bill remains unpaid to this day. We contacted you by phone and urged payment, but you still haven't paid. You have been blacklisted by our establishment. Please pay now and leave." Her brother-in-law froze for a second, then, recovering, reverted to his usual arrogance. "Didn't I just forget? How much? I'll pay now." His parents quickly explained with smiles. "It's normal to forget when you're busy entertaining business clients. We won't shortchange you for this little bit of money." After paying the debt, her brother-in-law waved his hand impatiently. "All right, is that it?" The manager smiled. "Sir, please leave our restaurant with your parents." "What does this have to do with my parents? We blacklist you and all your immediate family members. You guys have such a small mindset, it's just a bit of money, and you blacklist? Believe it or not, I'll report you." "Exactly, so many rules just for a meal. Go ask around, we're well-known people in lynching. When have we ever suffered such indignity?" The brother-in-law's parents acted imperiously. With people backing him up, her brother-in-law grew even more arrogant. "I'm putting it out there, even if the wealthiest C family from lynching came, they'd still have to show me some respect." As soon as he said this, Si Cheng calmly swept his gaze over him. "Jiang," he muttered softly, "they might not even know you." To be honest, her brother-in-law's family couldn't really be called a powerful family. They couldn't even get into the circles of the wealthy elite. At most, they were small-time nouveau riche, scrounging on the fringes. Because compared to others with 3 generations of inherited wealth, Lu's father was a genuine self-made man from humble beginnings. The manager maintained his smile. I'm sorry. These are the rules. Please leave. Her brother-in-law pointed at the manager's head. Go get your boss here. The manager was unmoved. Sir, even if our boss comes, it will be the same. I told you to get him. Sir, please don't make things difficult for us. As the words fell, 2 security guards entered and forcibly escorted her brother-in-law's family out. Her brother-in-law's family was so furious they forgot about Jiang He. Or rather, they never considered her family at all. The private room fell silent. Jiang He felt a surge of satisfaction. Her happy smile instantly froze when she turned and caught a glimpse of Si Cheng's indifferent expression. It was like her hair had caught fire, burning fiercely, yet she dared not make a sound. It seemed she was about to lose this new husband. Si Cheng, eat this. She ingratiatingly picked up food for Si Cheng. Si Cheng gave a faint and this. Give me your bowl. I'll get you some soup. Si Cheng clearly wasn't in the mood to continue eating, but seeing her carefully ingratiating manner, he couldn't bring himself to refuse. While trying to please Si Cheng, Jiang He didn't forget herself either. With her stomach full, her mood improved significantly. Jiang Chunhua looked at her sister's carefree appearance and chuckled helplessly. How did you two meet? Jiang He knew her sister would ask and quickly replied. We met online. Jiang Chunhua looked at Si Cheng, who nodded. Sister, this braised pork is so delicious. To avoid her sister asking difficult questions, Jiang He kept putting food on her plate. Mid-meal, Si Cheng went out to take a call. Jiang Chunhua saw her sister slumped in her chair, stuffed, and playfully hit her. No manners. Jiang He sat up straight. It's so expensive. I need to eat my money's worth. Jiang Chunhua sighed. Brother-in-law, is he too honest? He certainly looked presentable, but his wife had been so humiliated, and he hadn't stood up to say a word. It was a bit unreasonable. Even a random actor pulled off the street wouldn't be so dull. A man who is too honest is just weak. A weak man only acts tough at home and doesn't care for his wife. But seeing her sister so infatuated, even as her sister, it was hard to say it directly. Jiang He actually didn't care about Si Cheng's attitude. After all, they had only known each other for less than a week and weren't close. She was already immensely grateful that he had stayed with her until now. But to reassure her sister, she said, this is called emotional stability. I like that about him. All right, as long as you're satisfied. Her sister found it hard to say anything more. When Si Cheng returned from his call, Jiang He had already paid the bill. Before leaving, Jiang Chunhua, still uneasy, said to Si Cheng, Little Si, my sister is young and a bit unreliable. If she does anything wrong, please don't hold it against her. Si Cheng remained polite. Okay. Jiang Chunhua didn't understand how this brother-in-law, who clearly had the face of a mature, steady elite, could be so honest and weak. It's getting late. I'll head back first. Jiang He pulled her sister's hand. Sister, just now. Actually, it was her brother-in-law who was truly weak. Only incompetent men would fixate on their wives, gaining their male dignity and status by slandering and suppressing them. She was certain her brother-in-law would take his anger out on her sister. Jiang Chunhua seemed unwilling to bring up the unpleasantness just now, smiling and poking her sister's head. You're not big, but you love to worry for nothing. Don't worry, your sister knows what she's doing. After seeing her sister into the car, Jiang He pulled out her car keys from her bag, her tone tentative. Mister, Si, shall we go back? Si Cheng's tone remained flat. In the car, Jiang He gripped the steering wheel tightly, feeling unsure, the burning hair sensation returning. Anyone could see from what just happened that her eagerness to marry him was driven by ill intent. This kind of tangled family relationship was most annoying. Mister, Si, I didn't actually invite them, she mumbled. It seemed anything she said now would be useless. She was like a wicked woman who tricked people into marriage. For heaven's sake, even taking a step back, wasn't he also at fault? All right, he wasn't at fault. He even bought her a commuter car for her safety getting to and from work. She was just a wicked woman who tricked people into marriage. Mister, Si, are you angry? The car lights weren't on, so she couldn't read his emotions. No. Jiang He pursed her lips, tentatively probing. Mister, Si then, shall we sleep together tonight? She thought this was the only way to compensate him and prove she wasn't tricking him into marriage. Marital affairs, weren't they just like that? Doing it sooner or later was the same, and doing it earlier could even enhance feelings. Si-chung was amused and exasperated by her peculiar thought process. No, you sleep by yourself. Oh, he must be angry, Jiang He thought. The rest of the journey was silent. Only the mechanical voice of the navigation system remained. Back home, after parking the car, Si-chung got out first. Jiang He was still changing her shoes. By the time she had changed her shoes and locked the car, Si-chung was already inside. He was indeed angry. After entering the house, Jiang He tried hard to find a topic, staring at Si-chung for a long time, but couldn't think of a single thing to say. It's late, go to bed early. You have work tomorrow. Oh, good night. Physiognomy didn't deceive her. Even when angry, he remembered to tell her to go to bed early. He truly had a broad mind. Si-chung had no idea what was going on in the girl's head. After a full day of being on the go, a long-lost wave of drowsiness washed over him. He had no desire for chit-chat. He went upstairs, quickly took a shower, lay on the bed, and fell into a deep sleep. It was a dreamless night. When he woke up, dawn was just breaking. Sunlight filtered through the mist, falling lightly and beautifully on the window. He went downstairs, exercised, and returned to find the house still quiet. Usually, by this time, breakfast would already be laid out on the table, but today it was empty. All of this stemmed from Jiang He's 3,500 yuan salary. Si-chung had never lived a poor life. He thought that only being able to afford one made to manage 3 meals a day and handle housework was the absolute limit of poverty. That was until he heard her monthly salary was 3,500 yuan. The maid's monthly salary was almost her annual salary. So, yesterday afternoon, he dismissed the maid. Jiang He was sleeping soundly when the handsome man in her dream was replaced by the chirping of birds. What time is it? Time for work. She turned over, moving her body while reaching out for her phone. Half her body fell to the floor. Luckily, there was a thick carpet. She scrambled clumsily to her feet, her muddled mind slowly clearing. Looking at the unfamiliar room, her eyes were filled with confusion. Catching sight of 2 neatly arranged suitcases, a jumble of memories flooded her mind. She was married, and this was her new husband's house. She vaguely remembered that last night, Si-chung seemed very angry about her concealing her family situation. Fearing that Si-chung might bring up divorce because of last night's incident, she didn't dare unpack her luggage, only taking out a set of pajamas. To be honest, she didn't want a divorce. Her next husband might not be better than Si-chung, and she wanted to hold on to this man. She didn't seek forever, but at least she didn't want to be a laughingstock. Flash marriages and flash divorces were far too childish. She opened her phone and posted a plea for help online. How to win the favor of my new husband. In reality, she was a struggling worker. Online, she was a mildly famous commentary blogger. The post went up and immediately received many comments from netizens. Jiang He scrolled through the comments, finding not a single useful one, so she gave up. Since things had come to this, she should go to work first. A woman still needed to pursue her career. She washed up and went downstairs. The lights were on downstairs, and there was movement in the kitchen. She gingerly walked to the kitchen, leaning on the doorframe, her expression hesitant. In the kitchen, the man was wearing a light-colored loungewear set, looking relaxed and casual. As he bent over, his broad back blocked the overhead light, casting a small shadow on the countertop. The man noticed her gaze, tilted his head, and his eyes fell on her complex expression. He said, "Morning." Jiang He snapped out of it and flashed a bright smile. "Morning, mister. See, are you making breakfast?" This was obviously a rhetorical question. Her toes curled with embarrassment. "Is there anything I can help with?" she added. "No need." "Oh, then tomorrow, let me make breakfast." The man was a man of few words. Jiang He lingered, leaning on the doorframe, serving his company. "Mister, see, didn't you say you couldn't cook?" He didn't look like he couldn't. His movements for frying an egg were effortlessly skillful. Si-chung's tone was flat. "Just learned. Someone in this house had to know how to cook." Si-chung was a quick learner. Making breakfast wasn't difficult for him. "Mister, see, it looks a bit burnt." Jiang He pointed at the pan. Si-chung picked up the spatula, flipped the burnt side over, and said calmly, "It's smoky here." Jiang He understood, a clear smile gracing her lips. "I'm going to change." Hearing Jiang He's footsteps going upstairs, Sicheng finally turned off the heat, scooped out the half-burnt fried egg, and immediately started frying the second. Jiang He went upstairs, took down the 2 suitcases containing her clothes, opened one, casually found a hoodie and jeans to change into, picked up her laptop bag, and went back downstairs. Let's eat. Okay. Looking at the 3 burnt eggs on the table, Jiang He burst into a giggle. Mr. C, how are they all burnt? Sicheng reached out to pull the fried egg back in front of himself, but Jiang He stopped him. Aren't you going to share one with me? She asked, puzzled. Burnt ones can't be eaten. Jiang He picked up her chopsticks and scraped off all the burnt parts. Just eat the unburnt parts, can't waste it. Sicheng's gaze unintentionally fell on her earnest little face. He inexplicably met her gaze for half a second before looking away. Jiang He didn't pay much attention, because she was still thinking about last night. If this matter wasn't clarified now, it would become a messy issue that would constantly leave her in a passive state. She really wanted to ask Sicheng about his attitude, but she didn't dare bring it up. She was already in a passive state of overthinking. Sicheng noticed her absent-minded eating and reminded her. It's already 8. Jiang He snapped out of it, glanced at the time, and immediately stood up. I'll go to work now. Sicheng also got up. Together. Jiang He paused. Are you coming to work with me? I have business in the city. Oh. Getting into the car, Jiang He opened the car's owner's manual and read it for a long time before starting the car. Sicheng, who had just buckled his seatbelt, really wanted to unbuckle it now. I got a C1 license, don't worry. Jiang He confidently patted her chest. Didn't I drive perfectly fine yesterday? Sicheng. Coming back yesterday, the constant honking of cars urging her to speed up and overtake had annoyed him the whole way. Jiang He drove very attentively for the first half of the journey, but in the second half, she started thinking about last night again. This issue was like a thorn. If it wasn't resolved, she couldn't even sleep well. She glanced out of the corner of her eye at Sicheng, who was resting his eyes, hesitating to speak. Mr. C, are you asleep? She whispered. No. Sicheng kept his eyes closed. Mr. C, I think the breakfast you made was delicious. Dazzling sunlight fell in, and Sicheng squinted slightly. Are you trying to butter me up because of yesterday? Her little thoughts were completely written all over her face. Jiang He's smile froze on her face. Then she laughed loudly to cover her embarrassment. No way, I'm sincere. Sicheng didn't continue the topic, just hummed in acknowledgement. Jiang He was silent for a long while. Judging from Sicheng's attitude, it didn't seem so serious. Mr. C, are you still angry with me? Sicheng tilted his head, opening his half-closed eyes. What do you think? I'm stupid. I can't tell. She seemed to have made some kind of decision. If you want a divorce, I won't cling to you. Suddenly, it dawned on her. A marriage with cracks wouldn't last long. Long pain or short pain, it's better to have no pain at all. Sicheng simply watched her with grim determination, a desire to tease her welling up inside him. He didn't respond, remaining silent. Jiang He waited and waited but received no reply from him, steadily losing her nerve and feeling a touch of regret. Mr. C, why aren't you speaking? Is it because it's not raining today? Sicheng looked puzzled. It's not raining today? So you're speechless. Sicheng couldn't help but laugh. Jiang He was perplexed, even a little angry. Is that so funny? They're about to get divorced, yet he can still laugh. He must be very happy, she thought, not even bothering to pretend anymore. Sicheng turned his head to look at her. Jiang He, as for yesterday's matter, I thought we'd already put it behind us. A smile spread across Jiang He's face. Is that so? Well then, if we ever argue in the future, you can't bring this up again. Sicheng raised an eyebrow. Argue? Jiang He realized she'd spoken out of turn and quickly shut her mouth. Don't think about unknown things. Oh. After a while, Jiang He spoke again. Mr. C, I think you're the smartest person. Why? You don't have to work. Living in the suburbs means low living costs. You grow your own vegetables and fruits. The country air is good. And of course, most importantly, the weed in the field won't call you in the middle of the night saying it wants to turn into a watermelon. Jiang He couldn't help but laugh as she spoke. But there's one downside, she added. What's bad? It's hard to find a wife. Jiang He's mouth was faster than her brain. Sicheng tilted his head, looking at her, and asked, "Then what are you?" "I'm your wife." Jiang He's face flushed. To ease the awkwardness, she added, "Oh, I mean, at your age, you'd still have to go on blind dates." "At my age?" Si Chung narrowed his eyes slightly. "Are we that far apart in age?" Jiang He hastily explained, "That's not what I meant. I misspoke. A slip of the tongue." "A slip of the tongue? Then what did you originally intend to say?" Si Chung pressed on relentlessly. Jiang He's demeanor and expression were full of sincerity. "Mr. Si, you're not old at all. Really. Old." Jiang He felt that when Si Chung questioned people, he had a very strong oppressive presence, exactly like her boss. He only needed to raise an eyebrow and add a question, and she would immediately lose her composure. "Not old, not old at all. You're handsome and young." Jiang He's palms were starting to sweat. A faint smile played on Si Cheng's lips, and a faint escaped him. He found that his mood improved when he was with Jiang He. Jiang He reached out and wiped away non-existent sweat. This man was a bit difficult to appease. "By the way, Mr. Si, where are you getting off?" She changed the subject. "At your company in trance." "All right." She agreed promptly and clearly. Arriving downstairs at the company, Jiang He stopped the car and casually asked, "Mr. Si, do you need the car?" "No need." Si Ching opened the passenger door. "See you tonight." She waved her hand with a smile. The car slowly started and drove towards the parking lot. "Junior sister?" Just as she parked the car, she saw a male colleague walking towards her from afar. Jiang He didn't have time to roll up the window and hide, so she steeled herself and greeted him. "Senior brother, good morning." His name was Li Yang, a colleague from her department, and also her senior from the same university and under the same advisor. Li Yang pointed at the temporary license plate on her car window. "Newly bought." Jiang He got out of the car, locked it, and then nodded. Got a boyfriend?" Li Yang raised an eyebrow, seemingly well aware of her financial situation. Given that her marriage with Si Chung was a flash marriage and not very stable, there was no need to announce the marriage to everyone. "Yes, I'm seeing someone." Li Yang's eyebrows rose even higher. "Your boyfriend bought it for you?" Li Yang smiled. "Is it someone I know? A colleague?" "Don't get me wrong, but these older men only fool young girls like you, who are just starting out in society. You'd best confirm whether this car is registered in your name. Otherwise, you might end up losing everything." There was an unspoken rule in their circle. When young, rich second-generation men pursued women, even just to save face, they'd splurge on a BBA, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi. But these ubiquitous domestic new energy vehicles were usually bought by older men, often mid-level managers with families. A car costing just over 100,000 renminbi could be easily explained away to the wife at home with any random excuse. Jiang He felt uncomfortable hearing these words. Her brows furrowed tightly. "Senior brother, what you're saying is very disrespectful to me. Please don't say such things again." Li Yang hadn't expected Jiang He to retort. A flicker of embarrassment crossed his face, which he quickly masked with a smile, saying, "The truth isn't always pleasant, is it? Did I hit a nerve? Did you find out the car isn't registered in your name?" Jiang He stared straight at him, fury blazing in her eyes. The curses that rose to her lips were swallowed back down. After all, he was also her superior. If such a petty man decided to make things difficult for her later, she'd have nowhere to cry. A moment's impatience could ruin a great plan. She forced a faint smile. Senior brother, you're right. Thank you for your concern, senior brother. I'll definitely go back and check." On the surface, she was all smiles, but inside, she was cursing his ancestors for 18 generations. Li Yang displayed a fatherly smile and raised his hand, intending to pat her head, but she dodged just in time. Li Yang was sick in the head. He liked to pat people's heads. When she first joined the company, he'd done it once, and she'd gone home and washed her hair 3 times that day, almost scrubbing her scalp raw. "I haven't washed my hair in days," she said with a fake smile. "I'm going to be late for work." Li Yang didn't succeed in his aim, but he didn't get angry either. "Let's go." The company's parking lot was behind the building, and they walked through the back entrance together. On the way, it was just her and Li Yang. Whatever Li Yang said, Jiang He just nodded and smiled dismissively. Only after they entered the company did Li Yang stop lecturing and began greeting other colleagues. allowing Jiang He to finally be free. Xiao Jiang, guess what you missed? Her colleague, sitting next to her, excitedly grabbed her shoulder. There was a super handsome guy downstairs just now. Jiang He's eyes immediately sparkled. Did you take a picture? Is he from our building? Her colleague's eyes were even brighter than hers. I was too busy looking. No time to take pictures. Listen to me. The handsome guy got into a Mercedes-Benz S with a lucky 888 license plate. He's either rich or influential. Jiang He's face filled with regret. Why didn't I see him? What a pity. You women are so shallow. Focus on your work. Men of that caliber won't be yours even in your next life, Liang said, his tone mocking. Jiang He secretly rolled her eyes inwardly. While waiting for her computer to boot up, she replied to a WeChat message. Her sister had messaged early that morning, asking about her commute. Jiang He took out her car keys, secretly snapped a photo, and sent it over. Got a car, bought it yesterday, paid in full. Forgot to mention it last night. It took a while for her sister to reply. That's good then. I misunderstood, shall see. Jiang He immediately replied. I'll take you for a drive sometime. Sounds good. Jiang He sent back an emoji, and then asked, yesterday, did brother-in-law not make things difficult for you? No, stop worrying so much, you'll get wrinkles. Jiang He, Actually, she really wanted to persuade her sister to file for divorce. The law was on her sister's side. Inside the Mercedes S-Class, the man knitted his brows in silence, his gaze fixed on the financial report, focused and serious. There was an air of calm and composure in his every gesture. Young master, where are we going? Back. As soon as the words fell, a message popped up on his phone. The man casually tossed the financial report aside, his brow subtly relaxing, and picked up his phone. It seemed the sender of the message displeased him. He glanced at it and put it down, his expression unreadable. The driver was puzzled. Why return immediately after just leaving the village? Though confused, he dared not ask more. Young master must have his reasons for doing this. Jiang He had been busy from morning till night. As the sky outside the window turned dark, she finally stood up and stretched her limbs. Picking up her phone, she saw that Si Chung had messaged her an hour ago. Si Chung, working late. Jiang He checked the time and replied, Yep, heading back now. What's for dinner? Then, she added, want me to bring anything back? Si Chung, no need. Okay. Jiang He quickly packed her things, ordering milk tea as she walked towards the elevator. Junior sister? Leaving work. Jiang He looked up. Li Yang's face was right in front of her. She took 2 steps back and gave an emotionless mm. Who upset you? Such a sour face. Li Yang reached out towards her head. Jiang He dodged, abandoning her milk tea order, and stared straight at him. She was already annoyed after a day of work. This guy was like a persistent rash, and she couldn't even scold him. Senior brother, the elevator's here, she said. Li Yang, having failed to make contact, turned and entered the elevator. There weren't many people in the elevator at this hour, so Jiang He had no reason to wait for the next one. Junior sister, where do you live? Is it on my way? Li Yang asked. Jiang He forced a smile. Not on your way. I haven't even said where I live, and you're already saying it's not on your way. Nowhere is on your way, she thought to herself. Give me a ride then. Jiang He didn't respond, just lowered her head to order milk tea, pretending not to hear. Jiang He. Li Yang's tone held a hint of authority. Jiang He looked up at him. Senior brother, what did you say? I wasn't paying attention. Li Yang, thick-skinned, said. I said, aren't you going to get me a cup? Jiang He smiled. Senior brother, aren't you working out? I can't be bad for you. Li Yang tisk. Ed, when did I work out? Does my physique even need training? Everyone's saying it. Jiang He spouted nonsense. Forget it. If you don't want to drink, don't. You should drink less too. You'll understand when you reach my age. Jiang He nodded and smiled. Senior brother is right. She said that, but her body honestly ordered 2 cups. After getting off the elevator, Jiang He walked towards the back parking lot, planning in her mind to go home, pack her luggage, apply a face mask. The car slowly drove out of the parking lot. As it passed the security booth, it was stopped. Junior sister, open the door. Jiang He had never seen someone so shameless. Senior brother, don't you have a car? A horn sounded from behind, and the security guard urged, Miss, don't block the cars behind. Hurry and open the door for the young man. Under the urging, Jiang He unlocked the door. Li Yang pulled the car door open, his tone tinged with displeasure. Just give me a ride. I won't eat you. He was clearly the one bullying, yet he blamed the bullied for not being generous enough. Jiang He secretly rolled her eyes internally, not responding. Are you living with your boyfriend now? Li Yang's tone was very subtle. How old is he? Where's he from? What does he look like? And what does he do? Not too clear on any of that. Jiang He felt no need to reveal such private information to an irrelevant person. Tisk, Li Yang seemed to have gotten his way. If he doesn't even let you know these things, he's definitely just toying with you. It doesn't matter if he loves me or not, as long as I love him. I super love him. I must have him in this life. I'd get depression and want to die if he left me, just like being dead. Jiang He declared a top-tier, love-brain statement. Li Yang tisk, Ed in admiration. You might as well love me instead of him. At least I won't be a jerk to you. Jiang He rolled her eyes so hard they almost went to heaven. Loving him, what's the difference between that and breaking a heavenly rule? He said he'll only love me in this life. He's the only good man in this world. Jiang He continued to talk nonsense. Li Yang chuckled. You're so easy to fool. Passing a milk tea shop, she stopped the car. Li Yang was puzzled. What are you doing? Getting milk tea. Jiang He got the milk tea and got back in the car. A foul smell of second-hand smoke assailed her nostrils, almost suffocating her. Don't mind, do you? Li Yang opened the window and flicked ash. The night wind was strong, blowing the ash back into the car. Jiang He was so angry her teeth gnashed, and words squeezed through her clenched teeth. I'm allergic to second-hand smoke. Li Yang tisk, Ed, which man doesn't smoke? I've never heard of a woman being allergic to second-hand smoke. But you look quite cute when you're angry. Jiang He mentally cursed his ancestors for 18 generations again, stomped on the gas, and the car practically flew. Does your boyfriend have a family? Jiang He stated seriously, no. Li Yang, with the air of someone experienced, smiled and shook his head. You're still young. This is a destined trial you must go through. Jiang He couldn't help but roll her eyes again. Upon reaching the destination, Li Yang got out, leaning on the door frame, assuming an imperious posture. Isn't this quite on my way? Pick me up here tomorrow at 9. Before Jiang He could reply, he closed the car door and turned to leave. Jiang He cursed under her breath. Idiot. When she got home, it was already completely dark. She sat in the car, looking at the warm yellow light emanating from the house, and her agitated mood finally calmed down a little. It was so late. Xiqing should have gone upstairs to rest by now. Indeed, just as she expected, the kitchen and living room lights were off, but the upstairs hallway was lit. Xiqing must have gone upstairs. She put down her things and changed her shoes. The sound of a door opening came from upstairs. Looking up, Xiqing's figure appeared at the top of the stairs. Mr. See, I brought you milk tea. Xiqing's eyesight wasn't great, but he clearly saw her brilliant smile. He walked downstairs. I'll heat up dinner. Thank you. She saw 3 dishes and 1 soup on the table, looking delicious in color, aroma, and taste, and asked, Did you make this? No. Did you order takeout? No. Jiang He wanted to ask more, but Xiqing already carried the dishes into the kitchen. She followed him in, holding her milk tea. Xiqing opened the microwave. Have you eaten? No, let's eat together. Jiang He was stunned for a moment. Are you waiting for me? She felt guilty. I'm so sorry. I'll definitely leave work earlier tomorrow. He was waiting for her to eat at home, yet she had the leisure to drive another man home. Thinking of this, she felt even more guilty. She was truly a bad woman. I wasn't waiting for you. I just didn't have much of an appetite. Jiang He's guilt immediately vanished, and her face burned hot. Oh, she had been overthinking. Milk tea with dinner. Jiang He's bad mood from the entire evening was wiped clean. Xiqing hadn't lied to her. He really didn't have much of an appetite. But seeing her eat with such enjoyment, his appetite inexplicably improved. Mr. C, why aren't you drinking the milk tea? The ice cubes have all melted. I don't drink it, you have it. I'm so full, I can't drink any more. Don't waste it. Jiang He, full and satisfied, propped her head and scrolled on her phone. When one is very tired, simple, fragmented things are needed to relieve fatigue. She cradled her milk tea and scrolled through videos of handsome men, a look of contentment on her face. Suddenly, she seemed to think of something, staring at Si-chung for a while. Si-chung looked composed and asked, "What's wrong? Mr. Si, you're so handsome. You could go live streaming and make videos. That way we'd have another source of income." She handed her phone to him. Si-chung frowned at the shirtless muscle man on the phone screen. The guy could practically be described as flaunting his charms. He reached out, canceled the Jiang He had given the video, exited the app, and only then handed the phone back. "Weren't you the one who said you'd take care of me?" Seeing the blatant rejection on his face, Jiang He also felt she'd overstepped. How could she encourage her own man to sell his body and dabble in suggestive content? Wasn't that basically pimping him out? I'll work hard to earn money." Si-chung watched her squirm with embarrassment, but the corner of his lips quirked up slightly. After work, Jiang He's brain had clocked out too. Not only had she watched thirst traps right in front of her man, but she'd also let him find out. Definitely not a good look. She quickly swiped to a pet video and tried to explain. That last one was shared by a friend. "Normally, I prefer watching stuff about plants, flowers, and pets." Si-chung gave a non-committal Jiang He suddenly felt like she was protesting too much. The more she explained, the worse it sounded. Spotting the milk tea on the table, she grabbed it, tore open the straw wrapper, expertly stabbed it in, and handed it to him. "Here. What's in this?" Longjing milk tea and Qingtuan. This was a combination Si-chung had never heard of. It sounded like some kind of dark cuisine, like yogurt mixed with plain rice. Jiang He watched him hesitate and said eagerly, "It's really good." Si-chung had planned to refuse, but seeing her expectant look, he took the cup and tried a sip. Jiang He stared at him with sparkling eyes. "Well, not bad. Who'd have thought these two completely unrelated things would actually taste decent together?" Jiang He pressed, "What flavors do you like? I'll bring some back after work tomorrow." Si-chung shook his head. "This is my first time drinking it." Jiang He gaped at him, as if she'd just seen a panda, utterly astonished. "Seriously? So no need to bring me any. What kind of life has this man been living?" She pitied him. Never even tasted milk tea before. "Don't worry, I'll buy it for you." Jiang He responded without processing. Si-chung. The next morning, the alarm blared, and Jiang He reluctantly dragged herself up. She'd been drawing late into the night, so exhausted she'd fallen asleep without even removing her face mask. She turned off the alarm, buried her face in the blanket, and dozed off again. In her half-asleep state, she remembered promising Si-chung she'd make breakfast today. Whatever, just order takeout. She grabbed her phone and opened a delivery app. But the moment she saw the prices, her sleep-blurred eyes widened. 45 yuan for a bowl of seafood congee? She tossed her phone aside and scrambled up. After washing up, she headed downstairs and heard noises from the kitchen. "Mr. Si, I was supposed to make breakfast today." She leaned against the doorframe, her smile apologetic. "Since you're up, I'll handle tomorrow and the day after." Si-chung didn't actually know how to cook, but he always carried himself with effortless confidence. "There's something I wanted to discuss." To maintain their quality of life, he felt they needed a housekeeper. Jiang He tilted her head. "What is it?" Before he could answer, she barreled on. "Oh, Mr. Si, guess how much a bowl of seafood congee costs on delivery?" "How much?" 45. Such niche pricing. Half a day's wages for one bowl. Si-chung. "Anyway, what did you want to talk about?" Si-chung turned off the stove and plated the fried eggs. "Never mind." "Oh." After breakfast, Jiang He checked the time, still early, and propped her head up, drowsy. Si-chung finished cleaning the kitchen and found her still sitting there, spaced out. "Not going to work." Jiang He dragged herself up reluctantly. "Going." It wasn't that she hated work, just Li Yang's boundary-crossing harassment and bullying. "By the way, are you going into the city today?" "No." "All right, see you tonight." She grabbed her keys and laptop bag and headed out. On the way, her phone buzzed with a message. "Li Yang, don't forget to pick me up." Jiang He rolled her eyes. "Give them an inch, they'll take a mile." She replied, "Senior, my boyfriend's really possessive. He doesn't like me getting too close to other guys." The light turned green. She tossed her phone aside, ignoring whatever Li Yang would say next. At the office, as usual, she killed time on her phone while her computer booted up. "Xiao Jiang, come here a sec." Hearing Li Yang's voice instantly soured her mood. She walked into his office. Engineer Li, what's up? Li Yang glanced at her. Didn't you wear that outfit yesterday? Girls should keep clean, change clothes more often. I did. This is the same style, but a different color. Jiang He mentally rolled her eyes. Did you call me in just to say that? With the insane overtime and sleep deprivation, not looking like a mess was already her biggest respect for this job. I've got a homestay project in the scenic area up north. Small scale, about 300 square meters. Good practice for you. Yeah, right. Li Yang just wanted to freeload her design work. If she naively took this project, she'd get exploited with zero recourse. Engineer Li, I'm just an assistant designer. I can't take on projects independently. It's against the rules. Polite refusal. Li Yang sked. Rules are dead. People are alive. You'll hit your 1-year mark as an assistant soon. Promotion's inevitable. By the time this project starts, you'll officially be a designer. You young girls lack vision. The bigger the storm, the bigger the profit. Get it? Jiang He let it go in one ear and out the other. Engineer Li, I've already applied to join Engineer Zhao's park renovation team. I'm swamped, ask someone else. Li Yang grew impatient. Come on, you're young. Pull a few all-nighters. We've all been there. Deadlines this Friday for drafts and concepts. Before Jiang He could argue, someone knocked. Li Yang straightened up. Xiao Jiang, you're too stuck in construction drawings. Show me what you're really capable of. Now go. Dismissed in 3 sentences. As the door opened and a colleague entered with documents, Jiang He stormed out, fuming. What's wrong? You look like a puffed-up cat, a co-worker teased. Engineer Li's making me do his design work. The co-worker laughed. Just don't do it. Jiang He pouted. Obviously I won't. But his tone just ugh. The co-worker patted her. All right, don't stress. Meeting time. In the conference room, Jiang He suddenly felt a piercing glare. But when she looked up, it was gone. Xiao Jiang, you and Engineer Li seem pretty close lately. Saw you two leaving together yesterday. A male colleague said meaningfully. Jiang He replied bluntly. We just happened to wait for the elevator together. Spread rumors and karma's coming for you. Oh, the guy smirked. I'll tell you a secret after the meeting. Jiang He glanced up. Engineer Zhao was watching her. Xiao Jiang, your thoughts? She stood, the room's attention laser-focused on her. As a low-ranking grunt, Engineer Zhao rarely called on her. Usually just dumped work on her. Her mind blanked as she flipped through her sketches. Engineer Zhao's temper flared at her spaced-out look, but Jiang He cut in just in time. About rebuilding the museum in Sha Tuo Geological Park. I disagree with the current plan. Someone immediately sniped. Take it up with the client then. Get them to rewrite the proposal. The subtext was clear. Is the client your dad or something? Jiang He put down her manuscript, stepped towards the small whiteboard, picked up a pen, and quickly sketched a topographical map of the park. The people below whispered among themselves. I've carefully studied the tender document. The client's requirement is to expand the museum's capacity, not specifically to rebuild it. The museum in the park is Lin City's landmark, holding the memories of a generation. I believe we should only renovate the interior without altering its external appearance. Her pen tip moved along the gently sloping hill next to the museum. At this moment, she had completely shed her previous reserved and awkward demeanor, presenting herself with poise and confidence. The current problem is the original museum's insufficient exhibition space. I think we can extend it on both sides, building new annexes connected by covered walkways or outdoor staircases. And by utilizing the slope of the hill, it can also offer scenic views. A silence fell over the room. Jiang He put down the pen, returned to her seat, and handed her hand-drawn manuscript to Engineer Zhao. These are some of the designs I sketched. Engineer Zhao glanced at it, his expression unreadable, then passed her manuscript down. Suddenly, the silence was broken, and that sarcastic voice spoke up again. What a huge project this would be. Have you considered the budget and land approval? Jiang He never fought unprepared battles. How could she not have considered the budget? But workplace survival rules told her to be magnanimous when possible. This colleague harbored so much malice towards her, and the reconstruction draft was probably drawn by her. She was already satisfied that her idea had been expressed. After all, the final decision-making power wasn't in her hands. No, she said. The colleague's sarcastic tone softened slightly. Young people, you still have a lot to learn. A colleague from the cost department said with a smile. Engineer Zhao, I've done a rough calculation, and this plan indeed exceeds the budget. Engineer Zhao looked at Jiang He. You can go back for now. Jiang He nodded and returned to her seat. After the meeting, that male colleague pulled her to the pantry. Jiang He, you're something else. If your plan gets adopted, I'll have my dad invest in this project. Jiang He pursed her lips. Don't try to praise me to death. What do you want to tell me? Nothing much, just a reminder to not get too close to Engineer Li. You're in Engineer Zhao's project team now. You know how it is in the workplace. It's better to pick a side than be a fence sitter. Apparently, Engineer Li and Engineer Zhao don't get along well. They've even had arguments. Jiang He reached out and hit him. Which I saw me being a fence sitter? The male colleague clutched his hand in pain. You should go mix cement at a construction site. Your hand strength is way too much. That's for people like you who talk nonsense. To avoid running into Li Yang and attracting gossip, Jiang He packed up and prepared to leave work before dark. Xiao Jiang, work overtime and get me a set of drawings. I need them tomorrow. Li Yang tapped on her desk. Engineer Li, is it that urgent? My great-uncle is celebrating his 90th birthday today. Jiang He blurted out. It's not easy for my great-uncle to come to the city. If I don't go, he'll get angry. And if he gets angry, he'll kick the bucket. You can find someone else to do the drawings just as well. Li Yang chuckled. That's a pretty funny joke. I've sent the file to your email. Jiang He. It's not a joke. Even if she wasn't avoiding Li Yang, she had planned to leave work early. Li Yang straightened his expression. Do it well. I'm heading back now. You should also go back early once you're done. Jiang He mentally cursed his ancestors again, picked up her phone, and messaged Si Cheng. Over time. Si Cheng, what time will you finish? I don't know. Mister. Si, I really want to go back and farm with you. Si Cheng, is it very urgent work? No. It's work that my boss suddenly went crazy with. Si Cheng, He's so stingy with words. What would happen if he chatted a bit more? Jiang He huffily turned off her phone and opened her computer again. 3 hours quickly passed. The sky outside the window had long turned completely dark. Jiang He was so hungry she felt weak. She ate a biscuit to tide herself over, then packed up and left work. Having passed the peak of hunger, she had little appetite. With the biscuit in her stomach, she didn't feel hungry anymore. By the time she got home, it was already 10:30 at night. A light was left on in the entryway. She tiptoed into the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, intending to cook some noodles. She had lived in this house for so long, yet she hadn't done a single day of housework, and this was even her first time opening the refrigerator. She felt truly guilty. The refrigerator was packed neatly with fresh ingredients, full of a sense of life and very comforting. Didn't you eat dinner? Jiang He jumped, instinctively closed the refrigerator, and looked at him with an awkward and nervous expression. You're not asleep? Realizing her guilty thief vibe was strong, she opened the refrigerator again. Insomnia, Si Cheng said. As soon as you mention insomnia, I get so sleepy, she yawned. But I haven't had dinner yet. Si Cheng furrowed his brows and looked up at the clock. It's already very late now. Jiang He nodded, looking down for ingredients. Do you have instant noodles? There are some leftovers on the dining table, if you don't mind. I don't mind. I'll eat leftovers. She closed the refrigerator and walked towards the dining room. Sure enough, there was food on the table. 3 dishes and 1 soup, just like usual, with no signs of being leftovers. After warming up the dishes, she served herself rice and ate with gusto. Si Cheng couldn't sleep, so he sat and accompanied her for dinner. Mr. Si, why do you have insomnia? Jiang He asked, puzzled. This question stumped Si Cheng. Jiang He. I heard that when people get older, they don't lack sleep. Si Cheng. Realizing she had said the wrong thing, Jiang He quickly shut up. I'm sorry, she pursed her lips. Si Cheng chuckled. Did you work overtime today because you said something wrong? Jiang He pouted. Of course not. He just likes to bully me. At work, she was constantly strategizing and fighting battles with 800 wits. But once she got home, she inexplicably relaxed completely, and her brain stopped working. This led to several thoughtless remarks. Si Cheng smiled faintly, but said nothing more. Jiang He, full and satisfied, sat ungracefully scrolling on her phone. Mister. See, look at this kid, so funny. As she handed it to him, she didn't grip the phone properly, and her finger inadvertently slid to a video above, revealing a shirtless man with abs to both their eyes. Jiang He quickly snatched back the phone, her face burning. She exited the video app, explaining with an awkward smile, "My friend shared this with me. I don't like watching these." Si Chung raised an eyebrow, adding fuel to the fire. "I've been listening to the background music of this video for 5 minutes." Jiang He's awkward smile froze on her face. "I'll block that friend right away. It's getting late. I'll do the dishes. You go up and rest early." Compared to her flustered state, Si Chung appeared calm and composed. Jiang He carried the dirty dishes into the kitchen and posted online. Is watching videos of handsome men considered emotional cheating? Go ahead, no risk. If your husband isn't handsome, then you can watch. Suggest watching with your boyfriend present. Keep watching. If you get caught, break up. Break up. Jiang He pursed her lips. All they do is make trouble. When she finished cleaning the kitchen and came out, the dining room was already empty, the table wiped clean, and in the nearby trash can were a few used tissues. Still a neat freak. Si Cheng's mind, which had been as clear as if he'd drunk a triple espresso, was suddenly overcome by a flood of sleepiness after talking with her. Lying on the bed, his eyelids began to droop, and the next second, he fell into a state of sleep. A dreamless night. Waking up again, bird chirps came from outside the window, and an urgent phone ring pierced his eardrum, snapping his fragile sleep nerves with a bang. Si Chung picked up his phone, and after seeing the caller ID, an expression of displeasure spread across his face. He answered the call, his voice slightly deep. "What is it?" "I'm downstairs at your place. Open the door." The tone on the other end of the line was no better than his. "Wait a moment." Si Chung put down his phone and went downstairs. The door opened, and a strong, unpleasant smell of alcohol assailed his nostrils. Si Chung looked at the slovenly-looking man before him, a clear look of disdain in his eyes. "Did you bathe in alcohol?" "More or less." The two stood at the doorway, one inside and one out, staring blankly at each other. Jiang He let out a tisk. "Are you going to let me in? It's quite cold out here." Si Chung moved aside. Jiang He entered, expertly changing his shoes. "Oh, by the way, whose little pink car is that in the yard?" Si Chung ignored him, turning and entering the kitchen. Jiang He followed him, laughing teasingly. "It can't be yours, can it? What kind of man buys such a garish pink car? I certainly wouldn't." Si Chung pretended not to hear him, poured a glass of water, and drank it in one gulp. "How boring. I'm going upstairs to take a shower. Don't you have a folding sofa in your study? I haven't slept all night. I'm going to lie down for a bit. Don't call me for breakfast, lunch, or dinner." Si Chung stopped him. "Someone's upstairs. It's not convenient." The study he referred to was now Jiang He's room. Jiang He paused for 2 seconds before he finally understood, narrowing his eyes and smiling. "After all these years, I've finally caught you hiding a beauty. Whose daughter is it? Is she pretty?" Si Chung cleared his throat. "I'm married." "What?" Jiang He's voice rose by 2 decibels. "Seriously?" As the richest man in Lin City, Si Chung came from a world-class family enterprise that had weathered a century of ups and downs. Under the influence of such a family background, Si Chung had displayed extraordinary business talent from a young age. While his peers were still living off their ancestral inheritance, he had already climbed onto the rich list, establishing a vast gap between them. Young, handsome, steady, and wealthy, he was the top choice many girls would go to extreme lengths to marry. There was much gossip about his private life in their circle, but it was all merely hearsay and unfounded speculation. "When did this happen? How come I didn't know?" "A few days ago," Si Chung said calmly. Jiang He was startled. "A flash marriage? Are you playing such a big game?" He knew Si Chung wasn't someone who hid things. If he were in a relationship, he would surely announce it to everyone. This sudden marriage must be a flash marriage, no doubt. Si Chung didn't respond to his question, instead saying, "She doesn't know my identity. Keep it a secret for me." Jiang He tisked sked twice, wanting to say more, but holding back. "Fine, I'm going to take a shower. I reek of alcohol. I can't meet anyone like this." Si Chung interrupted him, saying, "Go wash in the master bedroom." There were 2 bathrooms upstairs, one in the master bedroom and another shared one. which was currently being used by Jiang He, making it inconvenient for a second person. Jiang He froze. Why? Not to mention Si Cheng's germophobia, the new sister-in-law was still sleeping in the master bedroom. Si Cheng couldn't be bothered with his nonsense. There's a water pipe in the yard. Go wash in the yard. Jiang He's eyes rolled, and he instantly understood, looking at Si Cheng with suppressed laughter. No, you two are married but sleeping in separate rooms? Playing so innocent? Whose daughter is it exactly? You've really made me curious. Si Cheng didn't answer. After your shower, I'll have old who pick you up. Jiang He put his hands together in apology. My bad, my bad. I'll shut up. Jiang He was suddenly woken by a tenor voice in her dream. She groggily opened her eyes. She checked the time, then rolled over and tried to go back to sleep. After waking up, she couldn't fall back asleep, so she got up, intending to fulfill her promise to make breakfast. Fearing she might wake Si Cheng, she moved as quietly as a thief. When she reached downstairs, a busy figure was already in the kitchen. Mr. Si, you're up so early, she said, leaning on the doorframe. The man turned around. I'm making noodles today. His gaze involuntarily fell upon her. She looked as if she had just woken up, still in her pink spaghetti-strap nightgown, her slender white arms particularly striking. Her soft, slightly curled long hair cascaded casually over her fair shoulder blades, and her hazy, sleepy eyes held a hint of a smile. When she wasn't saying annoying things, she was quite quiet and gentle. Jiang He was completely unaware of his gaze. She simply tidied her messy long hair and asked, Do you need help? Si Cheng averted his eyes. No. Okay, you're working hard, mister. See, I'll make it tomorrow. Jiang He went upstairs to get ready. When she came back down, she ran into a man with red hair, looking rather nonchalant. Jiang He looked her up and down. This new sister-in-law looked to be in her early 20s, dressed in an ordinary hoodie and jeans, with her long hair tied in a high ponytail, looking like a college student. Jiang He spoke. You are Mr. Si's friend. If he hadn't been wearing the same style of slippers as Si Cheng, she would have yelled thief. Jiang He heard her address Si Cheng and secretly stifled a laugh in his heart. Yes, I'm Jiang He, Si Cheng's good brother. Jiang He was surprised. You're also surnamed Jiang? I'm Jiang He, the Jiang of Ginger. Jiang He raised an eyebrow. I'm the Jiang of River Jiang. Jiang. Jiang He thought he was calling her and paused for a second, then realized and asked with a smile. The Jiang with the three-dot water radical? Yeah. Jiang He raised an eyebrow. What made you fall for that taciturn guy, Si Cheng? Jiang He was too embarrassed to explain the reasons, simply smiling. Oh, right. Is that little pink car in the yard yours too? Jiang He nodded. He bought it for me. Jiang He spotted the laptop bag she was carrying and asked, Are you going to work in the city later? Give me a ride. Si Cheng came out with a pot of noodles, cutting off Jiang He's unfinished sentence. Breakfast is ready. Jiang He instinctively got up to get bowls and chopsticks from the kitchen. Jiang He tisked sked. I wasn't finished talking. As his words fell, Jiang He returned with 3 sets of bowls and chopsticks. No need for 3. 2 are enough, Si Cheng said, setting the extra set aside. Jiang He quickly snatched his own set of bowls and chopsticks. I want to eat too. Seeing this, Jiang He couldn't help but smile. Go back after you're done eating, Si Cheng said indifferently. Jiang He pouted. I could have dragged you down with me, but you suddenly got married. If the old man finds out, he'll definitely drag me to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get married this afternoon. Jiang He didn't understand. Why would he do that? Jiang He sighed and shook his head. An arranged childhood marriage set by the elders has to be fulfilled. Jiang He nodded, half understanding, her gaze involuntarily falling on Si Cheng. Compared to Jiang He, who was gobbling down his food as if he hadn't seen it in 10 lifetimes, Si Cheng appeared composed and elegant. Si Cheng noticed her gaze and looked up. For a moment, their eyes met. Jiang He awkwardly looked away, then lowered her head to eat her noodles. After breakfast, Jiang He got up to clear the dishes, but Si Cheng stopped her. Let him clean up. He shot Jiang He a look. Young Master Jiang He pointed at himself, with an expression that said, Are you kidding me? What kind of guest cleans up dishes? Jiang He waved her hand. No need, I'll do it. Jiang He saw that Si Cheng had no intention of helping and suddenly became chivalrous. Hey, I'll do it, I'll do it. Jiang He looked at Si Chung, who nodded. The two hosts sat and rested while the guest cleaned the kitchen. Jiang He saw that it was still early and propped her head up, lost in thought. Mr. Si, what do you do when you're home alone? I go to the fields to weed, prune flowers, and water vegetables. How leisurely. Why do you still suffer from insomnia? Is there anything you're worried about? How long have you had insomnia? A long time. Why don't you find a job? You'll be fine once you start working. You won't have time for insomnia at all. You'll just fall asleep the moment your head hits the pillow and sleep soundly until you wake up, she said earnestly. Si Chung. Oh, right, Mr. Si. What's your education level? I can help you brainstorm. Jiang He asked, then realized she had asked too much. He farmed in the countryside, so he probably hadn't had much schooling. Actually, working isn't so great either. It's enough for just one of us to toil like an ox for the capitalists, she said, laughing to ease the awkwardness. After all, agriculture is the foundation of the nation. Si Chung smiled. I'm off to work now. Jiang He got up and left. On Friday noon, Liang sent a message urging her for the draft. Jiang He's lunch, which she had been enjoying, suddenly lost its appeal. She feigned ignorance. What design draft? Liang? ? It's Friday today? If you're done, don't delay, send it to me now. Then, he added, if there's anything you don't understand, you can ask me. Jiang He. Are you talking about the design for the scenic area guest house? What do you think? Do you have any other projects in your hands that are more important than this? Seeing Jiang He didn't reply, he sent another message. You haven't even started drawing yet? Upon seeing his message, Jiang He rolled her eyes and replied, didn't we agree that day that my position doesn't allow me to independently handle projects? You should be clearer on that than I am. What are you saying? If you can't do it, why would I have sent you the client's requirements? Jiang He. Did you send them? I haven't checked my email, sorry. After she sent the message, there was no reply from his end. Although Jiang He appeared soft and easily bullied, she wasn't truly a naive and gullible person. In this situation, Liang was stumped with nowhere to vent. At most, he'd hurl a few insults. A few scoldings wouldn't hurt her. In fact, being scolded by him might even help dispel rumors that she and Liang were close. She wouldn't miss a chance to kill two birds with one stone. After a while, Liang called her to the office. Li Gong, you called for me. Li Yang's sharp gaze swept over her. Why haven't you drawn it? Do you think I'd exploit your design for free? Jiang He said against her true feelings. No. Liang stared at her, then suddenly chuckled. I heard you're doing quite well with Zhao Fei. Even able to talk back to designers more senior than you? You've misunderstood. It's just normal work. Liang tapped his fingers on the desk, pondering slightly, then looked up at her and announced condescendingly. Tomorrow, Saturday, you'll work overtime. Come with me to survey the site for the scenic guest house. I'll lead you on this project. I won't exploit your design for free, all right? Jiang He felt an immense aversion internally, her expression silently resistant. She said, tomorrow, I have other arrangements. It's the weekend. What kind of plans could you possibly have? Just being lovey-dovey with your boyfriend, right? Youngsters, focus less on romance. Especially since you're a girl, you should prioritize your career. Jiang He pursed her lips, thinking to herself, as if I needed you to tell me that. She had signed up for a design competition some time ago, but it had been put on hold due to work. She had planned to catch up on it this weekend. I really can't go. You should find someone else. Li Yang's face darkened with anger. Do you even want this job anymore? If not, resign early. Do you have any idea how many people out there are desperately trying to get a foot in the door? Jiang He's fist tightened and then loosened. Under another's roof, one must bow their head. What time tomorrow? She asked. Liang finally broke into a smile. Now that's more like it. How could leading you on a project possibly harm you? Okay, I have an appointment with President Jiang at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. You be here sharp at 9 a.m. to pick me up. Oh, and dress nicely. Otherwise, people who don't know might think I've brought along a college intern. Jiang He knew she had to be his driver. Got it. Her good mood for the entire day vanished into thin air, knowing she had to work overtime with Liang tomorrow. After work that evening, she engaged in some revenge spending, ordering 3 cups of milk tea. When she got home, she sat in her car, taking a moment to compose herself before getting out. She didn't want to bring her bad mood from work home. As she walked in, the aroma of food wafted to her. "Mr. See, I bought milk tea." Si-chung watched her, sipping from one cup she held, while carrying two others. "3 cups. Because I wanted 2, and 1 is for you." Si-chung merely grunted. "Let's eat first." After eating her fill, Jiang He held her phone and looked up the route for tomorrow's business trip. "Mr. See, I have to work overtime tomorrow." Si-chung seemed to have long stopped finding it unusual, responding indifferently. "I know." After a long silence, Jiang He asked an existential question. "Mr. See, what if I lost my job?" Then she added, "Of course, I don't mean now. I'm just hypothesizing what if it happened someday in the future." "Do you really like design?" he asked. Jiang He nodded. "Yes, I do. It's just losing a job. You can just switch to another company and continue doing what you love." Saying he would support her if she lost her job would be too high-sounding and superficial and not responsible enough. She wasn't a pet he had to feed, wagging her tail and begging for sustenance. She should be independent, able to shine brightly in her chosen field. Jiang He didn't reply, just looked at him, her face full of doubt. "Mr. See, I don't understand." "Don't understand what?" "You're so handsome, gentle, polite, and have such a good character. Why would you end up going on blind dates?" Si-chung hadn't expected her to steer the conversation this way. He teased, "Because I'm getting on in years." Jiang He's face flushed. "Oh, that was a slip of the tongue. 28 isn't old. People nowadays don't even get married until they're 30. This question bothered her for a whole night. Could it be that he's not good in that department? She used to secretly read her grandmother's books, which claimed that men with high nose bridges and fleshy nose tips were very capable. Could it be that he was the exception? Early next morning, Jiang He unwillingly went out. At 9 a.m., not a minute off, she arrived punctually at Li Yang's doorstep. Li Yang, as if he'd swallowed a firecracker, grumbled as he got into the car. "You're usually so quick-witted when you're talking back to me. Why are you suddenly acting dense? I told you to be here at 9, and you actually showed up at 9. Didn't you see how bright it is out?" When a person is utterly speechless, they tend to crack a smile. Jiang He felt her composure was so good she deserved an award. She calmly said, "Didn't you say sharp at 9? That's your rigid thinking. From now on, arrive 10 minutes early, understood?" Jiang He offered a perfunctory smile. "Yes, I understand. Today's incident won't happen again. There absolutely wouldn't be a next time. Working overtime with him on a weekend? She'd rather burn bridges and switch companies." Only then did Li Yang smile contentedly. "Ah, if you want to get ahead, you still have a lot to learn." You're right." The rest of the drive was silent. Jiang He focused on her driving. Halfway through the drive, Li Yang rolled down the window, pulled out a cigarette, and lit it with a puff. A foul stench of smoke, mixed with the wind, filled her nostrils. For a moment, Jiang He felt like she was suffocating. She turned her head and saw Li Yang's hand, holding the cigarette, propped on the car window frame. "What a poser," she grumbled inwardly. "Your boyfriend's a bigger smoker than I am, right?" he said with a smile. "He doesn't smoke." "Then he must not have much capability," Li Yang chuckled. "Smoking is a social etiquette for men. Men who don't smoke don't know how to network, lack foresight, and are spineless." Jiang He finally reached her limit and slammed on the brakes at the red light ahead. "What are you doing, getting angry?" Li Yang didn't get angry, but laughed instead. "You're only angry because I hit a nerve, aren't you?" Jiang He, her face cold, said each word distinctly. "Li Yang, my driving skills aren't great, and my mental state isn't exactly stable. Sometimes, I can't tell the brake from the accelerator. Up ahead is a large bridge. The distance from the bridge deck to the river is 15 meters. If the car crashes, it'll plunge into the river within 30 seconds. After plunging into the river, we'll both be knocked unconscious from the violent impact, unable to save ourselves. The car will be fully submerged within 3 to 10 minutes. What do you think? In such a short time, could a rescue team possibly arrive and save us both?" She turned her head and stared at him, her eyes devoid of emotion, holding an icy chill and a determination for mutual destruction. What this man feared most, what he dared not provoke, was a lunatic who had no regard for their own life. Li Yang's face turned dark, being reprimanded by such a young girl. But concerning his life and safety, he was truly scared. His lips trembled uncontrollably, and he said dryly, "Don't be impulsive." Jiang He chuckled softly. "So, put out that cigarette for me, and shut your mouth, got it?" Just as she expected, Li Yang was a coward who bullied the weak and feared the strong. At the company, in front of so many colleagues, she couldn't find an opportunity. Now that they were traveling alone, if she didn't show him who was boss, he'd really think she was a naive, easily fooled sweet girl. Half an hour later, they arrived at a comprehensive scenic area that integrated commercial and natural elements. Getting out of the car, Li Yang was like someone who had left a dangerous area and forgotten the pain once the wound healed. He pointed at Jiang He's attire and said, "Didn't I tell you to dress a bit more maturely? What are you wearing? A short-sleeved shirt, a sun protection jacket, and that pair of jeans. I've seen you wear them for a month now." Since they had already had a falling out earlier, Jiang He couldn't be bothered to pretend to be well-behaved. She looked him straight in the eye. "Is there a problem? If you can wear them, why can't I? What, did you patent jeans? Do I need to report to you to wear jeans?" In the past, when she went out with engineer Zhao to discuss business, she would meticulously dress up to look like a designer. But Li Yang wasn't worth her time to dress up for. Li Yang's face turned red and then black from being retorted. "So you have this side to you too. You used to be quite good at playing the innocent little rabbit." Jiang He crossed her arms, saying sarcastically, "Seeing this side of me, you're truly blessed." Li Yang scoffed disdainfully and walked forward. Jiang He followed behind, opening her phone to send Si Chung her location. Si Chung almost instantly replied, "Not at the company?" Jiang He, doing an on-site survey with a detestable boss. Si Chung, understood. Jiang He turned off her phone, calculating in her mind how long she could remain at the Design Institute after having a falling out with Li Yang. Speaking of which, it was Si Cheng's attitude towards her potential unemployment last night that gave her the confidence to openly confront Li Yang. Li Yang led her into a tea house. "Young Master Jiang is in private room number 5, the waiter said. Jiang He and Li Yang walked side by side towards the private room. On the way, Li Yang instructed, "Later, mind your words. If you offend young Master Jiang, you'll have to pack up and leave even without me saying so." "I know." The private room was semi-open. Before they even entered, a familiar voice drifted out from afar. "Don't these designers have families or friends? Coming for an on-site survey on a big weekend. Are they out of their minds? I have to handle such a small project? Is there no one else in the group?" "Got it. So verbose, isn't it annoying?" Li Yang paused, standing outside the door, intending to wait for the person inside to finish their call. Jiang Corporation's hotel brands were global. Li Yang didn't care about this small guest house project. What he wanted were their hotel design contracts. He heard that Jiang Corporation had 2 5-star hotel projects in planning this year, and countless people in the industry were eyeing this lucrative opportunity. He hoped to leverage this small guest house project to achieve significant results. If he could secure this project through connections, he could advance his career another step. "Didn't we agree on 10:30? Where are they? Are they putting on airs with me?" The voice inside roared. Jiang He felt like she had heard the voice inside somewhere before, but she couldn't recall where. A young man in a suit and leather shoes walked out, as if fleeing a disaster. Encountering Li Yang and Jiang He at the corner, the young man immediately showed a professional smile and gestured for them to enter. "Engineer Li, you're here? Young Master Jiang is waiting for you inside." Li Yang nodded, instantly losing his bossy demeanor and appearing somewhat humble. "All right." Jiang He followed behind the two, subconsciously glancing around the tea house's decor, her gaze finally landing on the man brewing tea in a grand armchair. "Young Master Jiang, I really didn't want to disturb your rest on a weekend, but if I were to schedule an appointment on a workday, both you and Mr. Jiang are busy," Li Yang said with a forced smile. Jiang Hefan didn't listen to Li Yang at all. His hand, brewing tea, paused mid-air, all his attention fixed on Jiang He. Li Yang had long since inquired about young Master Jiang's preferences. He was an ignorant playboy prince. Jiang He was different from those other girls. She had a certain spirit, very interesting. He guessed that the playboy prince had probably never met a girl like her. "This is my assistant, Jiang He." Li Yang gave her a wink, adopting a superior posture. "Little Jiang, say hello." Jiang He was a bit surprised. She hadn't expected this friend of Si Cheng's to be a rich second generation. Young Master Jiang, nice to meet you, she smiled. Jiang He straightened his expression, changing from his usual disdainful look, and waved his hand at her. Hey, why call me Young Master Jiang? That's too formal. Just call me by my given name. Liang thought he had found the right opening, and said with a smile, Little Jiang, quick, go brew Young Master Jiang a cup of tea. Jiang He gave Liang a cold glance. Liang didn't understand why, and smiled awkwardly. I completely forgot. Little Jiang doesn't know how to brew tea, so I won't let her embarrass herself. Jiang He poured the tea and handed it to Jiang He, directly clarifying his relationship with Jiang He, sister-in-law. Have some tea. Be careful, it's hot. It was Jiang He's first time being called this, and by a man older than herself no less. Her small face immediately flushed half crimson. She took the teacup and said, Thank you. Liang stared at the two of them, stunned for a long time. You two know each other. The smile on his face could only be described as awkward, and faint cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Jiang He raised an eyebrow, his tone sarcastic to the point of choking. What do you think? Liang raised a hand to wipe the cold sweat, his face plastered with a forced smile. Well, isn't that a coincidence? Jiang He chuckled softly. It truly is quite a coincidence. If he hadn't been sitting here, Jiang He would have been sold out by him. Oh, by the way, sister-in-law, have you had breakfast yet? There's a pretty good dim sum place nearby. Should we go get something? Facing Jiang He, Jiang He changed his expression. I've eaten. No need to trouble yourself. Jiang He smiled faintly. Just call me by my name. Jiang He ignored Liang and stood up on his own. All right, let's go. I'll take you to see the plot of land. Okay. Liang crestfallenly followed behind Jiang He's assistant. Assistant Su, isn't young Master Jiang an only child? Assistant Su smiled faintly. He is an only child. Liang breathed a sigh of relief. Then this is, if not a direct blood relation, then a collateral relative. As far as he knew, the Jiang family had no collateral relatives that Jiang He would hold in such high regard. Assistant Su smiled politely. I'm not clear on that myself. Liang instantly regretted bringing Jiang He along. Wasn't this just slapping himself in the face? The group walked deeper along the scenic area's path. Jiang He handed Jiang He a bottle of water. Here. Jiang He took it. Thank you. Jiang He, you designed this guest house project. I'll just mention it to my dad later. Jiang He quickly refused. That doesn't comply with regulations. Jiang He smiled and called out, Engineer Li. Liang approached, bowing and scraping as if summoned by an emperor. Young Master Jiang, what is it? Oh, nothing much. It's just that I want Jiang He to handle this guest house project. Liang's mind raced. This? Young Master Jiang, you might not understand our company's regulations. Assistant Jiang cannot independently take on projects right now. This guest house project was his only link to the Jiang Corporation. If Jiang He took it on, he would truly have no involvement. Jiang He looked puzzled. Why not? I heard that your architectural major is a 5-year program. 5 or 6 years, isn't it? Anyone with hands can do it. Liang gave Jiang He a wink. Jiang He explained, because my rank isn't high enough yet. Architecture is much stricter than other industries. Liang quickly chimed in, exactly. Haven't there often been news reports over the years about houses collapsing and designers being sentenced to prison? For Assistant Xiaozhang's sake, it's just not appropriate. Jiang He tisked. Then it's not too late to design this guest house once Jiang He's rank is sufficient. It's a small project, good for her to practice on. Liang was stunned. Mr. Xiaojiang, I remember we signed a contract. Jiang He called his assistant. Go back and tell the legal department to follow the procedure. Liang hadn't expected to hit a snag today. His smile was awkward and stiff as he tried to salvage the situation. Mr. Xiaojiang, I've done many guest house projects and won international awards. Your esteemed group is entering the guest house market for the first time, and you probably hope to make a name for yourselves, right? No need. Our group has a marketing team. This scenic area is large enough, and there are many tourists. As long as the promotion through various channels is in place, there's basically no problem. Jiang He's unyielding demeanor made Jiang He unable to help but laugh. In fact, Jiang He was right. There were so many award-winning designers, and Liang wasn't a nationally renowned designer. What's more, apart from industry insiders, no one truly cares who the designer is, even if they are a master. After a simple survey, they returned. Jiang He invited Jiang He to dinner, but Jiang He politely declined. All right, next time then. Jiang He saw the two off and sent a message to Sicheng. You owe me a meal. Sicheng? Question mark. Jiang He. Jiang He and I really have a strong connection. Our surnames are the same. Maybe we were even family 800 years ago. Sicheng. Jiang He. It's a pity, if only you weren't married. Sicheng. Finish your sentence. Jiang He. Never mind, I'm busy. On the way back, Jiang He was in a good mood. No one could resist seeing a disliked superior lose face twice. Liang rubbed the embossed texture of the cigarette pack, so irritated that his craving for a smoke kicked in, yet he didn't dare to light one up. This little girl driving in the front seat was actually a lunatic with some backing. She couldn't be provoked. He put a lighter engraved with English initials into the cigarette pack, then pulled open the passenger side glove compartment and placed the cigarette pack inside. After putting it away, he felt it wasn't enough, so he flipped open the interlayer of his clothes, pulled out 2 packs of contraceptive supplies he'd obtained by scanning codes on the roadside, and threw them in as well. Jiang He was immersed in her own world, completely oblivious to Li Yang's actions. Jiang He, I really underestimated you. I'm curious, how do you know people from the Jiang family? Li Yang's tone was finally no longer condescending. Jiang He shrugged, no comment. Don't be so stingy, Li Yang said with a smile. Although sometimes my words might be a bit hurtful, my intention is good. I was just worried you'd be deceived. He spoke earnestly. Think about it carefully. Haven't I always looked after you at work? We're like elder brother and younger sister from the same school, considered half family, united in spirit. But you clearly knew Mr. Xiao Jiang, yet you kept it from me, making me so embarrassed. That's where you were wrong. And just now, speaking to me so loudly, have you no decorum? Jiang He was so amused by his grand speech that she laughed in anger. So, it was her who was ignorant. So, am I supposed to apologize? Liang disliked her attitude immensely, and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. It had always been others who treated him with respect, bending to his authority. When did it become the turn of some rookie little girl to give him attitude? He had to find a chance to get rid of her. Such a temper you have. He suppressed the cold glint in his eyes, revealing a smile, and seemed to want to say more, but ultimately held back. Midway, Jiang He stopped the car. What's wrong? The car doesn't have enough range. You can take a taxi yourself. Liang seemed good-natured. Okay, by the way, which direction are you heading? Jiang He calmly lifted her eyelids. Why ask that? Just asking casually. Why are you so cautious? Are you afraid I'll stalk you? Liang teased with a smile. Jiang He locked the car door, responding to his words. Who knows? You never know what's in a person's heart. Since she stopped caring about this job, she had let herself go. With that, she sped away, kicking up a cloud of dust in Li Yang's face. When Jiang He returned home, the house was filled with the aroma of food. I'm home. She excitedly walked to the dining room and sat down. Sicheng walked out of the kitchen, carrying a small pot of white rice. Jiang He turned her head, her gaze sizing up Sicheng. Today he was wearing a dark green work uniform, his sleeves rolled up to his elbows, revealing a section of his lean, strong arm. His posture was tall and straight, his build sturdy, like a rugged man from a spicy novel who could scoop up the female lead with one hand. This man's style was quite versatile. When wearing loungewear, he was lazy and casual, exuding a strong husbandly aura, and his smile was very gentle. When serious, he would have a cold expression, giving off a strong sense of pressure, like her boss. No matter from what perspective, this physique and this appearance were very appealing. Sicheng's voice interrupted her dazed gaze. Have you washed your hands? Jiang He immediately shifted her gaze, lightly coughed twice, and said, Later, I'm going to share a feel-good story with you. After saying that, she darted into the kitchen. Sicheng chuckled. He remembered that when she left in the morning, she said her resentment could sustain 10 evil sword immortals. After going out and coming back, she was completely energized, as if pumped with chicken blood. Jiang He came out after washing her hands. The rice had already been served in front of her. She picked up the bowl and instantly forgot what she was going to say. Mr. C, I've always wanted to ask, with your cooking skills, how can you make such delicious food? Si-chung, what cooking skills? Jiang He cheerfully continued. The cooking skills where all 3 eggs are burnt. Really, I've never seen anyone capable of burning eggs like that. Si-chung, this is takeout. This takeout tastes pretty good. It must be expensive. She suddenly realized something. I got paid yesterday. Saying that, she picked up her phone and transferred half of her salary to him. Living expenses. It's written in the prenuptial agreement. I can't possibly fail to do a single thing. Otherwise, I won't be able to sleep. Seeing that he hadn't accepted it, she urged, come on, accept it. Si-chung was genuinely afraid she'd starve on the streets, but he still tapped accept, then said, in the future, just give 1/3 of half. You don't need to give that much. Jiang He didn't refuse. Okay, what were you going to tell me just now? Jiang He recalled the morning's events, downplaying the important parts and vividly recounting what happened in the scenic area that morning. Oh, right, we left in such a hurry just now, Mr. C, please share Jiang Hefan's WeChat with me. Adam, why, he asked. Jiang He said as a matter of course, to tell him about the guest house project. He doesn't need to give it to me. I can't delay their plans because of myself. She wasn't foolish. The Jiang Group approaching their company was likely intending to use the guest house project as a lead to initiate other collaborations. It was just that the Jiang Group wasn't very satisfied with Li Yang as the chief designer for the future 5-star hotel project, which was why they kept delaying meeting him. After all, once the hotel project planning was complete, there would be the bidding process. They could very well choose a better team or reuse this guest house project as a stepping stone to attract better design teams. Si-chung was slow to react. Jiang He urged, hurry up, don't you have his WeChat? I do. Jiang Hefan instantly approved the WeChat request and sent an address. Come over and hang out. Immediately after, he sent a selfie. Jiang He tapped on the address. It was a resort with beautiful scenery, backed by mountains and facing water. As she replied, she asked, Mr. C, how do you know Jiang Hefan? Si-chung looked at the smile on her face. We've known each other since we were little. Oh, so you're childhood friends. Jiang He's attention was fully on her phone as she spoke. He invited me to go fishing, she said, showing Si-chung the chat log. But I don't know how, and I have things to do this afternoon. Si-chung glanced at the chat log, his gaze fixed on Jiang Hefan's heavily filtered selfie. What a peacock. What decent man sends selfies when chatting with a married woman? He's no good. Don't get too close to him, he said flatly. Jiang He put her phone away. I think he's pretty nice, it's just. His temper doesn't seem very good, she finished, then generously praised Si-chung. Mr. C, you have a good temper, stable emotions, you'd make a good husband. Si-chung had heard many praises over the years, but it was the first time he felt so uncomfortable being praised. However, her words did sound agreeable. After lunch, Jiang He went upstairs to take a shower, planning to nap. When she woke up from her nap, the crimson sunset bathed the horizon, making her think she was dreaming. She rolled over and went back to sleep. When she woke up again, it was already dusk. Having slept all afternoon, her head felt foggy. She opened her room door and bumped into Si-chung in the hallway. She smiled at him. Morning. Si-chung frowned. It's 6:30 in the evening. Jiang He's face instantly flushed with embarrassment. Is it? I slept myself silly. Si-chung looked at her sleepy-eyed and with messy hair, and asked with slight surprise. You slept all afternoon? Jiang He counted on her fingers. 4.5 hours. I almost didn't wake up. So her saying she could sleep like the dead wasn't an exaggeration. After dinner, Jiang He sat on the rocking chair in front of the door, enjoying the cool evening air. Mr. C, there's a snack street nearby. I haven't been there yet. It's less than 2 kilometers away. Shall we go for a walk? Si-chung had a good appetite that night and felt a bit full, so he agreed. All right. Jiang He, pleased with his response, happily got off the rocking chair. The cool wind of mid-April night rustled through the farmland, and the dim streetlights overhead cast 2 long shadows. Mr. C, what do you usually do at this time? Si-chung usually dealt with urgent group documents at night, or read books. Oh, The topic didn't intertwine, and the two fell silent, the atmosphere tinged with awkwardness. Only now did she truly realize that they had known each other for less than a month and weren't that familiar. She didn't understand him at all, and they had no common topics. Racking her brain, she spoke again. "Oh, right, Mr. C. Where do your family members live? Should I meet them?" Speaking of this gave Si Chung a headache. His grandmother's surgery had been postponed repeatedly, and as juniors, they were on tenterhooks every day, yet the elderly lady was still gallivanting all over the place. "Let's wait until there's time. My grandma is still out of town." "What's she doing out of town?" Jiang He asked again. "Visiting friends." "What about your parents?" Jiang He interrogated him like she was checking a household register. "They're traveling the world." Jiang He raised an eyebrow and commented, "That's good. Putting everything else aside, a family like this probably wouldn't have mother-in-law and daughter-in-law conflicts, unlike her sister's mother-in-law, who even tried to control her makeup and nails." The snack street on the weekend was very lively, full of student couples from 2 nearby universities, as well as local residents. Various greasy, pungent smells assailed them, and Si Ching's expression was very resistant. Jiang He walked a short distance and realized Si Chung hadn't followed. She walked back. "What's wrong?" Si Chung saw the vendors not wearing masks, their foreheads covered in sweat, and asked, "Are we going to buy these things to eat?" Jiang He was puzzled. "What's wrong?" "They're not clean," he said directly. Jiang He smiled and threw out a joke. "It's okay. I'm not exactly clean either." Si Chung didn't get her joke. He furrowed his brows and looked serious. "Why would you describe yourself that way?" Jiang He's face instantly showed her embarrassment. "I was just telling a joke." "Is that a joke?" That inherent sense of pressure returned, and Jiang He quickly shook her head. "No." Si Chung noticed her frightened expression and composed himself. "My apologies." Jiang He pursed her lips and asked, "Mr. C, are you sure you've never worked before, never been a leader?" Si Chung didn't answer. Jiang He continued, "Your questioning tone just now, I thought I saw my boss, and it scared me a little." Si Chung apologized again. "My apologies." Jiang He laughed. "It's okay." She realized then that there was a generation gap between them. He didn't always understand what she was saying. Jiang He walked to a stinky tofu stall and turned around to find Si Chung was gone. The owner of the stinky tofu stall pointed to Si Chung, who was standing far away. "Is it that handsome guy?" Jiang He smiled. "Yes." She knew Si Chung was resistant, so she only bought one portion. Si Chung watched Jiang He happily eat a small bowl of dark, stinky tofu, every subtle expression showing doubt. "Want some?" Jiang He speared a piece and offered it to him. "It's really good." "No need." "It's really delicious, though." Jiang He still didn't give up, trying to bridge the gap. Si Chung looked at her hopeful, eager expression, feeling a little reluctant to refuse. Jiang He knew she was putting him on the spot. "It's okay. Everyone has different preferences." Si Chung seemed to breathe a sigh of relief when he heard her say that. After strolling around the night market stalls, Jiang He contentedly rubbed her stomach. Si Chung had underestimated her appetite. Despite having dinner before coming out, she still managed to eat barbecue, milk tea, and a hamburger. "We can't come here again," she said. "Why? I'll get fat." Si Chung. Having drunk too much milk tea, Jiang He suffered from insomnia, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Close to midnight, piercing baby cries echoed in her ears. Scared, she hid under the covers. "What's that awful sound? Don't come for me." Prosperity, democracy, civility, harmony, freedom, equality. Trembling, she opened her phone and sent messages to Si Chung. "Mr. C, are you asleep? Help me. Help me. I'm going to shatter." Si Chung happened to be awake too. He had just closed his laptop when he received her flood of messages. He quickly got up, dropped his phone, and walked out. "Jiang He, are you in your room?" Jiang He heard Si Chung's voice and quickly replied, "I am. Do you need me to come in?" Jiang He didn't care what he said. She hurriedly threw off the covers, jumped out of bed, and rushed out. Si Chung didn't hear her voice, so he anxiously twisted the doorknob, opened the door, and stepped inside. Suddenly, the two of them collided head-on. The immense impact caused both of them to lose their footing. Si Chung barely managed to steady himself and wrapped an arm around Jiang He's lower back, preventing her from falling backward. Jiang He felt his body heat, and, as if she had clutched a life raft, no longer cared about the distinction between genders. She wrapped her arms around the man's lean waist and fearfully buried her face in his arms. "There are ghosts. Listen, they're calling." Her voice was almost trembling. "My grandma used to raise little devils, and they'd make this sound every night. Grandma said they only quiet down after eating people." Sicheng faced this situation for the first time and was immediately at a loss. The girl in his arms was like a startled cat, trembling slightly, clinging tightly to him. Jiang He didn't get a response for a long time, so she quietly poked her head up, looked at the man's calm expression, and whispered, "Are you listening to me?" Sicheng lowered his brows, taking in her fear and trepidation, and let out a chuckle. In this situation, his smile, to Jiang He, was chilling and sent shivers down her spine. She was so scared that she let go of him. "What are you laughing at?" Her voice was wary, her mind filled with unsettling images. Sicheng's gaze inadvertently fell on her for a second, then immediately averted. "It's a cat meowing," he said. Only then did Jiang He notice a chill on her chest. She looked down and saw that one strap of her nightgown had slipped down, and she wasn't wearing anything underneath. At this point, she couldn't care less if it was a ghost wailing or a cat meowing. Her mind was completely preoccupied with the fact that she had been seen. We're husband and wife. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Besides, everyone has breasts. Maybe his are even bigger than mine, she brainwashed herself. Pretending to be calm, she pulled the strap back up, then gave an awkward laugh. "So it was a cat. I thought spring was already over." Sicheng's peripheral vision caught her having fixed her clothes before he turned his gaze back, giving an emotionless mm. Jiang He subconsciously looked up, her eyes meeting his. Inside the room, the doors and windows were tightly shut, the curtains drawn perfectly, allowing no draft. The dim bedside lamp made the atmosphere at this moment ambiguous and alluring. Jiang He clutched her skirt, swallowed lightly, and said, "I'm not working tomorrow." The implication was clear. Even if it was a flash marriage, it was a proper marriage. A normal man wouldn't let his wife endure for so long. If he was too shy, she would take the initiative. There's no time like the present. The atmosphere is good today. She feels energetic, and a good workout would help her sleep well. Sicheng gave a light cough. Even if you're not working, get some rest early. I'm heading back now." With that, he turned and left, closing the door behind him. He left with such ease, making Jiang He feel like the cat meowing downstairs, awkward and helpless. She immediately felt incredibly embarrassed and buried her head in the quilt. What was I doing? She impotently pounded the bed. No, the atmosphere was built up to that point. She didn't believe Sicheng couldn't understand what she meant. She picked up her phone and posted, "Told my husband, I'm not working tomorrow, and he told me to go to bed early." Was he doing it on purpose? Congratulations, yes, he can't. He can't. He can't. He can't. He can't. Jiang He looked at the screen full of "he can't," and her hanging heart finally died. No wonder he so readily agreed to marry her on the blind date itself. No wonder he refused her 2 invitations to share the bed on the first day of cohabitation. No wonder he deliberately pretended not to understand her hints. So it turns out, he has a problem in that area. Grandma's books were still too absolute. There are exceptions. She couldn't help but sigh. Such a handsome man, and he can't do it. What a pity. After sighing, she couldn't help but pity herself. So young, and already embarking on a platonic relationship. Insomnia the night before caused her to sleep until midday. Dazed from sleep, she had temporary amnesia for 5 minutes, then recalled what happened last night. Too embarrassing. Indeed, people tend to make regrettable decisions late at night. Lunch was ready, but Sicheng didn't see Jiang He come downstairs for a long time. Given the embarrassing incident yesterday, he thought she was too shy to come down, so he let her be. After a while, he worried she might starve to death in her room, so he reluctantly went upstairs again. "Jiang He, are you up?" When he knocked, Jiang He was just about to go out to wash up. She opened the door, revealing a smile as if nothing had happened. "Morning, Mr. Sicheng. It's 12:30 p.m. now." "Oh, really? I thought it was still morning." Sicheng didn't expose her awkwardly fake smile, but instead stepped aside. During lunch, both were silent. Jiang He would take a bite of rice and check her phone 3 times. A netizen had shared a very skilled, old Chinese doctor with her. She clicked on the address, and it was over 1,000 kilometers away from her. She shook her head helplessly, sighing, and replied to the netizen, "Too far." After replying, she posted, "Any recommendations for traditional Chinese medicine doctors specializing in difficult male infertility cases? Located in Linqing." The post went out and immediately received many warm replies from netizens. She chose the TCM clinic with the most likes and checked the route. "Mr. C, are you busy this afternoon?" "No, why? My period hasn't come. A friend recommended an old TCM doctor. I want to go see them. Can you come with me?" Xiqing agreed. The TCM clinic wasn't far, and the waiting hall was full of patients waiting for their numbers. Jiang He had booked an appointment online. Upon entering the clinic, she first took 2 queue numbers. "Here, yours." She handed one to Xiqing. The registration slip clearly stated, "Men's difficult and miscellaneous diseases, consultation room 1. Xiqing froze for a moment, finally understanding what she was up to. "No need." Jiang He smilingly pushed the registration slip into his hand. "Since we're already here, aren't you suffering from insomnia? It's a good chance to let the doctor take a look. Don't be afraid to seek medical treatment. My friend says the doctors here are very effective." Xiqing was forced to take it, but remained silent. The clinic was very crowded on the weekend, and Jiang He started to feel sleepy while waiting. Just as her eyes were getting heavy with sleep, she saw a familiar figure. It was her brother-in-law, Lu Yangzi. He was escorting a provocatively dressed woman into the gynecology consultation room, his arm around her. That woman was definitely not her sister. "Mr. C, I'm next. I'll go wait by the door over there." She quickly stood up. Xiqing asked, "Do you need me to come with you?" Jiang He smiled sweetly and shook her head. "No need." She walked to a chair outside the consultation room and sat down, her mind full of giving her brother-in-law a surprise. About 10 minutes later, the consultation room door opened, and her brother-in-law walked out, still with his arm around the woman. The woman's face was flushed, and she looked at her brother-in-law with a hint of reproach. "It's all your fault for not being careful with hygiene." Her brother-in-law, good-naturedly, coaxed her. "The doctor said it's nothing serious, darling. I'll buy you a bag." "This is very serious." Jiang He stood up, interrupting the woman's words, and loudly said, "Brother-in-law, what are you doing here? Who is she?" Instantly, the patients in the hall sniffed out the gossip, and all turned their gazes towards them. Jiang He raised her phone to record, "Brother-in-law, you're actually cheating on my sister and got your mistress sick. That's outrageous." Her brother-in-law's rage instantly ignited. He slapped Jiang He's phone away. "Jiang He, stop sticking your ***king nose where it doesn't belong." Jiang He held it steady. The phone didn't drop, and she put it away. Lu Yangzi chuckled. "Yes, I am having an affair. What can your sister do even if she knows?" The woman beside him impatiently nudged him. "Don't waste so much time talking to her." Jiang He rolled her eyes. "Promiscuity leads to death." After saying that, she turned and entered the consultation room. The crowd started buzzing with discussion. Being watched by so many people, Lu Yangzi roared at the crowd. "What are you looking at? Get lost." With that, he continued to embrace his mistress and left. Xiqing stood among the onlookers, and only returned to his seat after seeing Jiang He enter the consultation room unharmed. Jiang He's period wasn't a big problem. It was just 2 days late. The doctor simply advised her to reduce late nights, and that was it. She returned to the waiting area and found Xiqing gone. After waiting for 2 minutes, Xiqing returned. "What did the doctor say?" she asked, seeing no prescription in his hand, and wondered, "Didn't they prescribe any medicine?" "No need for medicine." Jiang He frowned slightly, then immediately shook her head. "Usually, doctors don't prescribe medicine when there's no cure. It's over. This is probably congenital smallness, beyond saving. This is just not right. Flash marriage carries risks. Flash marriage requires caution. It's okay, as long as you're healthy," she said, patting him reassuringly. Xiqing. That evening, after much thought, Jiang He decided to tell her sister about running into her brother-in-law at the traditional Chinese medicine clinic. Her sister immediately called, her first words being, "Did you clash with him?" Jiang Chunhua understood her sister well. She usually seemed well-behaved and sensible, but her emotions ignited at the slightest provocation, impossible to stop. No. Jiang He pursed her lips. Fortunately, she hadn't sent the video, she thought to herself. Jiang Chunhua sounded as if a weight had been lifted. That's good. Sister, you don't have children. Why aren't you divorced yet? If the normal process doesn't work, couldn't you just sue for divorce? Jiang He asked, puzzled. Jiang Chunhua was silent for a long moment before saying, divorce isn't that easy, just leave it alone. In the future, if you see him, walk far away and don't pay him any mind. Of course, she had tried suing for divorce. The result was Lu Yang's intensified verbal abuse, his causing trouble at her school, and his unilaterally deciding to resign her from her job. Ostensibly, it was because teaching a senior class for the college entrance exam was too hard on her, and she needed to go home and focus on getting pregnant. In reality, he was unwilling to part with the expensive betrothal gift. If she wanted a divorce, she had to at least leave him a child. Fortunately, she found out in time, and the school couldn't do without her for the moment, which was how she kept her job. Just a few days ago, because of insufficient evidence of Lu Yang's infidelity and his feigned desire to save the marriage, the divorce lawsuit was lost. Her last shred of hope was shattered. Jiang He's tone was earnest. Sister, I'll give you all my salary to hire a lawyer, an expensive one, really. She truly couldn't stand her brother-in-law. Just looking at him made her feel like she'd get a bacterial infection. Seeing that she hadn't taken any of it in, Jiang Chunhua gave a helpless, wry smile. No need. You just got married. Keep it for yourself. I work overtime every day. I don't even have time to spend money. She pouted, compromising. Then if you divorce, you have to tell me. I'll buy you big fireworks to celebrate. Jiang Chunhua readily agreed. Okay. The next morning, Jiang He rushed to the company, arriving right on the dot. She had barely sat down when a colleague tapped her shoulder. Engineer Lee is looking for you. Jiang He acknowledged with an okay, but remained seated. As usual, she was scrolling on her phone with very poor posture. Suddenly, she came across a legal advice video from a divorce lawyer. Clicking on the lawyer's homepage, she discovered that this lawyer was located in Linqing and had over 1 million followers. For large characters on the homepage caught Jiang He's eye, 0 defeats. Jiang He immediately sent a private message to the other party. Hello, how do you charge? The message disappeared like a stone into the sea. Her colleague saw Jiang He hadn't moved for a while and repeated, Aren't you going to find Engineer Lee? Jiang He straightened up, and as she opened her laptop bag, she said, Let him wait first. Her colleague was surprised and teased. You're so different today. Huh, so assertive. Jiang He smiled, tidied her desk, then got up and went to Li Yang's office. Entering the office, she pulled open the chair opposite Li Yang and plopped down, her long legs crossed, completely unlike her usual obedient self. You're looking for me? What is it? Li Yang scanned her, then smiled, handing her the breakfast from his desk. I bought this for you, a sandwich and coffee. Is that all? Jiang He's expression was slightly disdainful. Then she stood up. Sorry, I've already eaten. Wait, don't be in a rush to leave. Li Yang stopped her, thought for a moment, then said in a seemingly sincere tone, Let me remind you, many eyes are on the Jiang Group project. As a newcomer, a slight mistake will be a lifelong professional blemish. Jiang He strongly disagreed with his words. How do you know I'll make a mistake? You don't trust me? Or are you trying to PUA me, giving me an I can't do it psychological hint? She had long since stopped tolerating his let me remind you tone. She wouldn't allow others to invalidate her with a casual remark. She had originally intended to tell him that she had rejected the BNB project, but because of his overt and covert mockery, implying she wasn't qualified, she decided not to mention a word. Let him guess. Li Yang smiled. You're like a little hedgehog. Jiang He hated his smarmy tone. Are you done? If so, I'm going back. With that, she got up and left. Jiang He returned to her cubicle. While her computer was booting up, she checked her private messages again. The divorce lawyer had not replied. Even late into the night, there was no response. For several days in a row, she would open her private messages and send a new message to the lawyer every day. To deal with a scoundrel like her brother-in-law's family, she needed an ox cleaver. She couldn't be careless. This Friday, on her way to a meeting, Jiang He's male colleague, Meng Feibai, poked her. Meng Feibai, Do you have ants in your pants? Meng Feibai whispered. I feel like you and Engineer Li are getting closer. He seems to be taking good care of you. Just a friendly reminder. I think office romance is the most disgusting and despicable behavior. Jiang He reached out and slapped him. Are you spreading these rumors? What is Li Yang? Me dating him? I'd date your sister instead. Li Yang seemed to be retaliating against her, calling her to his office once a day, or coming to get her himself if she didn't go. What could she do? Meng Feibai raised an eyebrow. So aggressive. Did you catch him doing something wrong? Jiang He blurted nonsense. That's right, I did. That's why he's trying to butter me up. What did he do? Won't tell you. As they spoke, they arrived at the meeting room. As soon as Jiang He sat down, a sharp gaze landed on her. When she looked up, the gaze was gone. The old park renovation project involved both architecture and landscape. The first half of the meeting was devoted to several colleagues from the landscape department discussing landscape planning. Only in the second half did the discussion turn to the renovation of the park's architectural infrastructure. Among the infrastructure, the museum was the largest in scale. Despite various discussions, a plan had been slow to be finalized. Jiang He could tell that Zhao Fei seemed unhappy with the reconstruction plan, constantly finding fault during the meeting. I feel like Engineer Xia is going to hate you. The reconstruction draft was already drawn up, and your meddling has directly stalled progress for a week, Meng Feibai whispered to Jiang He. Why would he hate me? The decision-making power isn't in my hands anyway. Can't I even voice my thoughts? Jiang He said. I noticed you're very agitated today. Jiang He shot him a mirthless glance. It's normal to be agitated at work. Engineer Zhao, you keep finding fault. Do you have a problem with me? Xia Kongshi, who supported the museum's reconstruction, slammed his pen down with a smack. Instantly, the meeting room fell silent. Looks like everyone's emotions are a bit unstable, Meng Feibai whispered. Zhao Fei didn't respond. She simply picked up her cup and calmly took a sip of water. She was best at giving such matters the cold shoulder. She put down her water cup and said, I'm focusing on the matter, not the person. It's just that the scale of reconstruction is too large. Budget and approval will be difficult. Without waiting for Xia Kongshi to reply, she stood up, glanced at the sky outside the window where the sun was setting, and said, It's getting late. Let's end here for today. Time to go home. You've all worked hard. As soon as she finished speaking, Xia Kongshi was the first to walk out of the meeting room. Jiang He was sitting at the end, near the door. As Xia Kongshi walked past her, he glanced at her out of the corner of his eye. On her way home from work, she kept pondering the look Xia Kongshi had given her. His gaze, the hostility was too obvious. When she arrived home, it was completely dark outside. The dim yellow streetlights outside were brighter than usual, which considerably eased her weary mood. Si Cheng, as usual, was waiting for her to come home for dinner. She casually placed her phone on the dining table and went into the kitchen to wash her hands. Actually, you don't have to wait for me every day. Si Cheng brought out the warmed-up dishes. I'm used to it. He set down the dishes. At the same time, Jiang He's phone vibrated. The screen lit up, and a message popped up. Divorce lawyer Xi Jinghuan. Hello, madam. Fees are charged by the hour. Si Cheng stared at the words, divorce lawyer, and paused for a long time. She wanted a divorce? Mr. C. Which towel can I use to hold the inner pot of the rice cooker? Jiang He poked her head out from behind the kitchen doorframe. Si Cheng came back to his senses and calmly walked over. I'll do it. You get the bowls and chopsticks. Oh. The two sat down with the food and tableware. Jiang He had been hungry for a long time and didn't bother with her phone. She held her bowl and ate heartily. Mr. C. You really don't need to wait for me to get off work. Eating so late isn't good for your health. Si Cheng raised an eyebrow. So? Jiang He smiled. I'm young. My body can handle it. You mean my body isn't good? Could it be that she disliked him because of his age and thus wanted a divorce? But there wasn't much difference between their ages. Besides, apart from insomnia, his health was fine. His annual physical exams were always qualified. Jiang He pouted. I didn't say that. You're misinterpreting me. Si Cheng said nothing more and focused on eating. Jiang He was full, leaning her head on her hand. She watched Si Cheng and sighed. Mr. C. I think my superior doesn't really like me. Tell me. Jiang He avoided the difficult parts, explaining the relationship network and events to him, then summarized. Engineer Zhao is actually dissatisfied with Engineer Xiao's proposal, but Engineer Xiao is a headstrong person. This way, Engineer Xiao's anger was redirected towards me, the spoiler. We might both have to leave this project team. Si Chung was surprised. She wasn't so foolish after all, being able to analyze things so logically. What should I do? Voluntarily withdraw. She never liked wading into murky waters. Getting herself dirty was very unsightly. Si Chung shook his head. No need. If you don't fight for it, how will you know you don't have decision-making power? He looked directly at her. Jiang He was stunned for 3 seconds. Wouldn't that be inappropriate? The fact that Engineer Zhao has been hesitant also shows the feasibility of your proposal. Since you've participated in this project, you have a right to speak. A design assistant is trained to become a designer. You should be braver. Face and dignity are earned by yourself. Rather than being a pawn, control the game, and make those with objections shut up. Jiang He looked at Si Chung, her eyes filled with complex emotions. He and her sister were two extremes. Her sister always told her to play it safe, not to get involved in office politics, not to conflict with people, not to be rash, and not to stick her neck out. This had cultivated her complex personality, long-term meekness and endurance mixed with occasional extreme irritability. And yet Si Chung supported her getting involved in the struggle. Si Chung saw her pensive expression and asked, "Are you listening to me?" She came back to her senses, nodding vigorously. "Yes, Mr. Si. After listening to you, I feel enlightened. Have you really never worked in a company or been a leader?" Si Chung didn't answer directly, but asked, "So what do you think?" "I'll listen to the leader." She had a playful expression. Although she knew this was quite rebellious, she felt energized. Moreover, with her current workplace situation, making enemies on all sides, she might not survive in this company anyway. Rather than being eliminated, it's better to eliminate others. At least it would be satisfying. Si Chung chuckled. "You can just call me by my name directly from now on. No need to be so formal." "Okay," she laughed, and after a while, added, "Now I know what kind of job suits you." Si Chung raised an eyebrow. "What?" "A success coach." Jiang He pursed her lips, a smile appearing at the corners of her mouth. She opened her phone, wanting to find a video to show him, but then she saw the lawyer's reply. Her eyes lit up, and she quickly replied, instantly forgetting about Si Chung. Si Chung noticed her expression and hesitated to speak. "Jiang He, you wash the dishes," he said. Jiang He looked up from her phone screen and briskly replied, "Okay, in a bit." After saying that, her attention returned to the phone screen. Si Chung didn't respond again and got up to go upstairs. By the time Jiang He put down her phone, Si Chung was gone. She silently tidied the dishes and chopsticks. It was almost 10 o'clock when she finished the chores. She was too tired to move, collapsing on the sofa to chat with the lawyer. This lawyer didn't take small cases that lacked a sense of achievement and recommended a colleague of theirs. Jiang He pleaded bitterly. "Lawyer Shi, my brother-in-law's family is not good people. Only a great master like you can handle them. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Madam, we are professionals, and my colleague will certainly be able to help your sister win the lawsuit." Jiang He reluctantly added Lawyer Shi's colleague, but the request wasn't accepted, so she went upstairs. After a quick shower, she called Zhao Fei. The phone rang, and the do-do dash, waiting tone came through the receiver. Her palms sweated from nervousness. "Xiao Jiang? What's up?" Zhao Fei seemed surprised that Jiang He would call her. Jiang He took a deep breath to calm her nerves. "Engineer Zhao, I want to try again to fight for my previous idea of building an annex for the Shaodao Park Museum." There was silence on the other end of the line. Jiang He, with a willingness to risk everything, became patient and waited for a reply. After a long time, a female voice came through the phone. "All right. Prepare your design draft and a rough construction plan. We'll discuss it together at the meeting on Monday." Although she had anticipated that Zhao Fei might give her this opportunity, she couldn't help but feel excited. "Thank you, Engineer Zhao. Don't mention it. You earned this yourself. You're a smart child. Get some rest early." "You too." After hanging up, Jiang He rolled twice on the bed. That call just now was her letter of allegiance. It gave her the right to sit at the table and also showed that she and Li Yong were not on the same side, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. She couldn't help but marvel at Si Cheng's wisdom. She jumped off the bed, opened her computer, reviewed the Tinder document again, and then continued to refine her proposal. Unconsciously, 2 hours passed. Her eyes were so tired she could barely keep them open, so she got up and went downstairs, intending to make a cup of coffee. She had only discovered a few days ago that there was a coffee machine in the kitchen, never expecting Si-chung to be so sophisticated. But she found it troublesome and decided to just use instant coffee powder. She filled the kettle with water and put it on to boil. Waiting too long standing, she went to the living room to sit. But barely touched the sofa cushion for 2 seconds before she lay down, her eyelids fighting to stay open. In less than a minute, she fell into a deep sleep. Si-chung suffered from insomnia again. He didn't fall asleep until 3 in the morning, and his sleep was not deep. As soon as dawn broke, his biological clock impatiently woke him. He held his groggy head and went downstairs. The living room light forcibly turned on, irritating his eyes unaccustomed to strong light. The kitchen light was on. He was a little surprised that Jiang He was up, but walking into the kitchen, he found it empty. On the counter lay a long-spouted coffee pot, a pink cup, and a packet of filter paper. Drinking coffee so early in the morning, she certainly had a lot of energy. Leaving the kitchen, he searched the house for her and finally found her sleeping soundly on the living room sofa. Her nightgown was loose, and she lay on her side, completely exposed. He reluctantly turned around, picked up a blanket from the rocking chair, and gently placed it over her. In her sleep, Jiang He felt something pressing on her body, and she suddenly woke up with a jolt, looking straight into those amber eyes. The fear from her dream turned into confusion after seeing the man's face. Why are you in my room?" As she spoke, she instinctively raised her hand to cover her chest. The man before her, however, was remarkably clear-eyed and excessively calm. He lowered the blanket in his hand, his gaze fixed on the sleep marks on her face. "You slept here all night?" Jiang He looked around, sat up wrapped in the blanket, and gave an awkward laugh. "I got up at 12:30 to make coffee, but I was so sleepy I accidentally fell asleep." Her "accidentally fell asleep" was said so casually that Si-chung actually felt a little envious. Jiang He stood up. "I'll go change. I'll make breakfast." With that, she ran upstairs with a thump thump thump. Si-chung watched her hurried back, a slight curve appearing on his lips. After changing, Jiang He came downstairs and quickly entered the kitchen. Before they married, they had agreed to split the household chores equally, yet this was her first time cooking. Si-chung had intended to go for a run, but hearing clattering sounds from the kitchen, he became a little worried and headed towards it. Thud, a peeled pumpkin fell from the cutting board, rolled all the way to the door, and finally stopped at Si-chung's feet. Jiang He awkwardly put down the knife, walked over, squatted down to pick up the pumpkin, and rinsed it off. "What are you making?" Si-chung asked. "Pumpkin millet porridge." Jiang He put the pumpkin back on the cutting board, picked up the knife, and chopped into it. There was a crisp sound as her hand moved swiftly with the knife. The pumpkin was instantly split in two, both halves even, with smooth cuts. She turned around, an expression seeking praise on her face. "Si-xian." She paused, then said, "Si-chung, how are my knife skills?" Si-chung. For someone with such slender arms and legs, she certainly held the knife very steadily. "My grandpa used to be a butcher. He said this knife technique was passed down only to sons, not daughters, but my dad and brother wouldn't learn it, so he could only teach me," she continued, unabashedly. "He never praised anyone, but he said I had a steady hand and a knack for it. He hoped I'd join him in butchering pigs, but I was still young then and didn't understand these things. Later, he passed away," she sighed, then added, "It's a pity my grandma said I mustn't take lives. So, I can only pass it on to my children in the future. If I have a boy, I'll send him to butcher pigs, and if I have a girl, I'll also send her to butcher pigs. That would fulfill a long-held wish of mine." Si-chung was amused by her. "Are you serious?" Seeing him smile, Jiang He's eyebrows curved like crescent moons. "Of course, I'm joking." Then she added, "However, if they want to butcher pigs later, I won't stop them. Butchering pigs doesn't involve workplace backstabbing and scheming." Si-chung rubbed his forehead, smiling helplessly. "Okay." After busying herself in the kitchen for an hour, Jiang He came out carrying a pot of steaming hot pumpkin millet porridge and a plate of pancakes. "Quick, try it." She ladled a full bowl for him. It's my first time making it. Si Chung took it, and under her expectant gaze, scooped up a spoonful and tasted it. Not bad, he said. Jiang He smiled contentedly, served herself a bowl, and replied to messages while eating. Lawyer Xi's colleague had added her on WeChat. She immediately freed her eating hand and quickly replied, "Hello, Lawyer Zhang. May I ask how you charge, and when would be a convenient time to meet?" The message was sent, but the other party didn't reply. Jiang He put down her phone and continued eating. After breakfast, she went upstairs to work overtime, determined to make up for the sleep she lost. The weather, nearing May, was bright and clear. A refreshing breeze stirred the curtains, and sunlight fell on the wheat fields, making the outdoor scenery comfortable and pleasant. Jiang He stood up, drew the curtains shut with a swish, and focused on her drawing. Working intensely for 3 hours, she modeled the shape of the sub-venue, quickly rendered a few images, then opened Photoshop to edit them. The morning passed quickly. She stood up, opened the curtains with a swish, and sat in the lounge chair on the terrace, looking out. A tall and upright figure stood in the distance. She picked up her phone, zoomed in, and took a picture. The man was wearing a dark green work uniform, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist, his posture stately and upright. His sleeves were rolled up to his elbows, revealing a fair and strong arm, exuding a strong physical appeal. Such good genes, what a waste, Jiang He sighed. She had checked. The man was small there, which would affect fertility, even leading to infertility. No wonder he wasn't in a hurry to have children at 28. There was a reason for it all. If he couldn't have children, who would inherit her knife technique? Who would fulfill her long-held wish of butchering pigs? She sighed as she went downstairs, walked out the door, smoothed her brow, and found Si Chung in the yard. The sun was just right, and the flowers in the yard were all in bloom. Vibrant red crabapples, pink and white peonies, dazzling roses, yellow and white herbaceous peonies, pure white jasmine. Jiang He was usually always in a hurry, leaving early and returning late, tired as a dog, and had never noticed the flowers and plants in the yard. She squatted down, cupped a flower, and sniffed it gently, saying, "These flowers are so well tended." Seeing how much she liked them, he handed her a pair of gardening shears. "You can pick some." "Really?" Though she asked, she still took the shears and made 2 snip-snip sounds in the air. "I'm really picking them." These flowers were so beautiful, she was reluctant to pick them, let alone Si Chung, who tended them. Si Cheng's lips curved slightly. She made a snip sound, cutting off a herbaceous peony, then stood up, went back into the house, and brought out a pot-bellied ceramic vase. Si Cheng finished fertilizing and sat down at the small table. Jiang He cut several well-bloomed herbaceous peonies, trimmed the excess branches, and then stuck them all into the vase. She then cut a few green leaves to decorate the edges, and it was done. It really has to be these double-petaled flowers. They look good no matter how you arrange them, she sighed in admiration. Si Cheng chuckled, praising, "It's quite pretty." Though the method was a bit wild and the colors a bit monotonous, it was still pleasing to the eye. She turned around and found that the beautiful herbaceous peonies she had picked were now plucked bare. "It's bald," she said, pointing at the bare stems, as if pointing out a crime scene. These were all double-petaled flowers. Putting different types together would be overwhelming and unaesthetic, so she could only pick the same type of flower. Si Cheng wasn't too distressed. "They'll bloom again," he said. Jiang He picked up the vase. "Oh, let's go back inside." For lunch, Si Cheng didn't have the nanny come, so the two of them ate the leftover pumpkin millet porridge and pancakes from the morning. As the weather grew warmer, Si Cheng didn't have much appetite, but Jiang He ate with great relish. "I'm going out this afternoon." Grandma had been traveling out of town for over half a month and finally agreed to come back. Jiang He looked up and said, "The car keys are in the entryway." He didn't say he wanted the car, nor did he say he didn't. He hesitated to speak. Last night, Grandma had suddenly called, saying she wanted to see Jiang He, but she should be very busy these 2 days. It was the first time he was indecisive about something. Jiang He saw his pensive expression and asked, "What's wrong?" Finally, he said, "Grandma arrives in Lincheng at 3:30. If you're not busy, she'd really like to see you. If you're busy, we can say next time." At least he told her. Jiang He froze for 3 seconds, then shot up to her feet. Not busy, not busy. Of course, I want to see her. Why didn't you say so earlier? What time is it now? 12:58. I'll go change. With that, she dashed upstairs in a flurry. Si-Cheng called out to her. You haven't finished your meal. I'm not eating anymore. Mother Si playfully hit her husband. That's enough. This is such a wonderful thing. Are you trying to break them up? Saying this, she smiled, walked over, and took Jiang He's hand. Grandma said your name is Jiang He, the he from rice seedling, Kramal, right? Mother Si was struck by her beauty at first sight, and with each look, her liking for the gentle and pretty girl grew. Although she was an ordinary girl, her excellent temperament and graceful demeanor made her a perfect match for her son. Jiang He nodded and smiled. Yes. Compared to the stern Father Si, Mother Si seemed much gentler. As they spoke, Grandma, leaning on her cane, walked over, and the others also stood up. This is Grandma, Mother Si introduced. Jiang He looked at the white-haired elderly woman in front of her and smiled, calling out, Grandma. Grandma Si happily responded, Oh, come, sit over there, sit by Grandma. Okay. Jiang He then pointed to Si-Cheng, who was still being scolded, and asked, They. Mother Si seemed to be long accustomed to it. Don't mind them, let them argue it out. Oh. Father Si gave his son a cold glance. Take your seats. The Si family had 3 brothers, but not all of them managed the family business. The eldest was involved in politics, usually too busy to be seen, and couldn't even spare time for impromptu family dinners. Father Si was the second eldest, and after retiring from the group, he traveled everywhere with his wife. The third brother was now the second in command of the Si group. These 3 brothers were so busy all year round that they neglected their own children. Grandma Si disliked this and preferred her youngest daughter the most. This is your youngest aunt and uncle, Mother Si introduced to Jiang He. Youngest aunt, uncle. Si Xiaohan, the aunt, appraised Jiang He and asked, You don't look very old. Are you still studying? Jiang He quickly shook her head. I've been working for a year. What industry is cousin-in-law in? The younger Si family members asked curiously. Construction. Si Jia commented meaningfully. The construction industry hasn't been doing well these past few years. Jiang He gave an awkward laugh. It's not very good. But Si Jia's words weren't directed at her. They were implying something, subtly mocking Si Su's property investment from 2 years ago, where the developer fled, the project became an unfinished mess, and he lost everything, down to his last penny. Si Su was already unhappy about his business losses, and he couldn't stand losing face verbally. I wonder who secretly invested in a new material. Si-Cheng gave the two a faint glance, his eyes holding a frosty glint. As the eldest among the younger generation, Si-Jin lightly coughed, signaling that even their squabbling should be mindful of the occasion. Si-Jia and Si-Su seemed to be very afraid of these 2 older brothers and immediately fell silent. These 2 cousins had been teasing each other since childhood. The eldest sister-in-law and third sister-in-law had long grown accustomed to it and couldn't be bothered to intervene. Grandma Si, even more so, disliked boisterous children. Among her 4 grandsons, she liked Si-Jin and Si-Cheng the most. Si-Jin took after his father. He wasn't good at business and devoted himself to scientific research after graduating from university. As for Si-Cheng, he had been designated as the family heir by Grandpa Si since childhood. At first, everyone thought it was unfair, but now they all had to admire the old man's foresight. The Si family had no granddaughters, and among the younger generation, only Si-Cheng had married first. Grandma Si, Mother Si, and the aunts were all incredibly fond of Jiang He. Father Si, however, maintained a cold expression throughout. Mother Si ignored Father Si's sour face, pulled a box from her bag, and had Si-Cheng hand it to Jiang He. Jiang He took the box, puzzled, and her eyes lit up. Gold. It must be gold. Meeting gifts from mothers-in-law were usually gold. That's what the internet said. The box opened to reveal a jade bracelet with excellent clarity. The bracelet was crystal clear all over, with almost no cracks, like a pool of emerald spring water, and the green cotton inclusions on it indicated its high value. Even Jiang He, who wasn't an expert, knew it was definitely not cheap. The material was acquired at the beginning of the year. I thought I'd have to keep it for another 3 to 5 years, but I didn't expect to have a daughter-in-law so soon. So, I immediately had the bracelet made. Mother C's tone was like she was showing off to the aunts and uncles whose 2 sons were still bachelors. Then she asked Jiang He, "Do you like it?" Jiang He nodded vigorously. "Yes, I like it, but it's too valuable." Subconsciously, she believed that these things would have to be returned after divorce, just like her sister. She thought about a future divorce. If this fragile item were damaged, where would she find an identical one to return to them? Compared to that, gold was better. If only it were gold. Mother C laughed, and the uncles and aunts laughed along. "What's so valuable about it? Come here, let me put it on for you." Seeing Jiang He hesitate, Si Chung coaxed, "It's only 50 or 60,000. Just a small token from Mom and Dad." Jiang He hesitated for half a second, choosing to believe Si Chung. Her initial estimate was hundreds of thousands, but Si Chung's 50 or 60,000 immediately dispelled her worries. Since she was afraid of damaging it, she'd take it off when she got back. Wouldn't want to dampen her mother-in-law's spirits. She picked up the bracelet and walked over. Mother C took the bracelet, and it slipped easily onto Jiang He's wrist, as if instantly recognizing its owner. The opening was neither too big nor too small, a perfect fit. The cool touch of the bracelet felt novel to Jiang He. She smiled gracefully and said generously, "Thank you, Mom." Mother C liked this daughter-in-law more and more with each look, and chided playfully, "What's with all the thank yous among family?" Jiang He touched the bracelet, thinking of taking it off as soon as she left. Her annual salary wasn't even 50 or 60,000. If it got knocked or scratched, she'd feel the pain for a whole year. After Mother C presented her gift, Grandma C also pulled out a slightly larger box. "Grandma also has a meeting gift," the old lady said, smiling as she handed it to her. Jiang He also took it with a smile, her palm feeling heavy. "What is it?" The old lady didn't have much money. She thought it might be a statue of the goddess of childbirth, or some silverware. She thought a goddess of childbirth statue would be nice. If she could have a beautiful baby with Si Chung, it would be very impressive to show off, and she'd gain a lot of face. However, gold would also be good. She opened the box while speculating. The box opened, revealing a square gold bar inside. Her mind seemed to freeze, and she stared blankly. Engraved conspicuously on the gold bar were, "Oh, 9.99. 500 grams. 1 caddy of gold." Such a familiar unit of measurement, yet such an unusual combination of text. She thought she should have bought a lottery ticket today. Whatever she wished for came true. "Grandma originally wanted to get you a jade bracelet, but I didn't expect second daughter-in-law to get to it first," Grandma snorted proudly. "I heard you young people like gold, so I bought you a caddy. Grandma's eyesight isn't what it used to be, so you can have some jewelry made that you like." Tears welled up in Jiang He's eyes from emotion. "Grandma, this is too valuable. Are you really giving it to me?" Although she said this, she held it dearly, unable to put it down. No one could refuse a caddy of gold. She touched the 9 yuan stainless steel necklace from a certain online store around her neck and glared at Si Chung, as if blaming him for not bringing her to meet his family sooner. "Si Chung, of course it's for you. Is it enough? If not, Grandma will buy you more." Seeing her eyes redden, Grandma lovingly patted her head, then also gave Si Chung a sidelong glance, as if blaming him for being stingy and not buying gold for her granddaughter-in-law. "Si Chung." Jiang He nodded vigorously. Enough. Thank you, Grandma." "But Grandma, you doing this makes my meeting gift look so insignificant." She pursed her lips. Grandma smiled and patted her head. "As long as the thought is there, that's enough. Grandma knows you work very hard. Grandma, you're so good to me." Mother C, feeling a bit jealous, said, "The bracelet can't compare to gold." Jiang He smiled soothingly. "Mom is good to me too.